One.
Pretty much he just said, shut the fuck up, Tomas.
Oh, he can't hear that.
Oh,
you can't hear him.
We can.
Yeah, he can too.
Well, I mean, he kind of heard it. But, yeah. Anyway, Sean. Finally glad you got up to come out here and let's do this. Nervous?
No, I just got to talk.
Yeah, you got to talk.
I just want to take my shirt off and dance around.
Yeah, we can do that too.
There ain't nothing to be nervous about. Words, I'm good with words.
Yeah, let's do this. What up, what up, what up? And we are back. And, man, this is a big, busy week for us. Man, I'm telling you, I actually leave on Sunday. And we had to get this one in. And I am very happy to announce tonight's guest, my boy, Sean Sims. What's up, Sean?
What's happening, little hog?
Well, you know, I should say, I can call you many things now. I call you professor, friend. I won't give any other name.
Heavy D, no big deal.
Yeah, Big Dave.
You got it all out.
Anyways, we got a full house tonight. We got Tomas running the cameras, Tay running the cameras, Skinny Codes running the bullhorn app for y'all. So, tonight's guest, like I said, Sean Sims, longtime friend. I met Sean back in the day when we used to train all the time, fight actually.
Yeah. Like 07 maybe?
Man, I would say it's like,
that?
7, 6.
Yeah.
I don't know. When did you start actually getting in MMA training?
It was 07.
07.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was already doing it for...
Oh, yeah, you are hooked up and running.
Yeah, I think I was... Because when I started, it was right around... Well, my first fight was 2001, so...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
But that was when you were still in Nebraska, though, before you had to transition
correct.
to come out here.
I moved out here in 2005, and then that's when we all kind of started, training together in the mornings. And
I used to mean mug the fuck out of me.
No, I would.
Who's this?
No, I promise you, out of everybody, I probably mean mug Shane Carwin before you.
Oh man, I got a Shano story.
Do you do?
Yeah, I met his brother. So
which
Shano, Donnie.
Yeah, Donnie. So Donnie came turkey hunting with us.
Did he?
Yeah.
Donnie's the man.
Yeah, he's cool.
Oh, dude, well, Shano would always be like, I'm the smallest. I said, you're the what? He goes, yeah, I got siblings, and I'm the baby. And I was
this before you met Shane and.
This before I met Donnie. I only met Shane and Donnie.
Oh, okay.
But I got to go hunting with Donnie this last winter.
Okay.
And, man, dude, not just a solid guy, but just enjoyed spending time with them. We're goose hunting, duck hunting.
Yep.
And then just shooting the shit. And like, it was so cool to me because I got a lot of love for Shano. So like, it's like I could hang out with him without being able to hang out with him. Because they're similar. Their mannerisms are I kept telling Donnie, I was like, man, this is a mind trip for me. Because you guys, like, they would do jokes the same way.
Yep.
Everything.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, that's one dude that I will always like be dear to my heart because he never got to the point where he was, champion of the world, UFC heavyweight, baddest motherfucker. And he always took time out just to say what's up.
Not just the heavyweight, but like, you remember when he and Brock Lesnar fought, it was the two most humans they've ever, they've ever had in a cage.
The best ever held.
Yeah, and I remember, I think Lisa was telling me, Lisa or Lauren, I think, was saying they were there when guys would clash. It was just literally two bulls.
Yeah.
And the whole cage was shaved.
Yeah, I mean,
just incredible.
You got to realize, like, what was shaved? I mean, you had to get down to 365 or 265.
Yeah, they both were cutting them.
Cutting weight to make heavyweight. Yeah. And mind you, these guys are like not like the average heavyweights. Like, they're six packs.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, when he first started coming around, I remember he used to come down with Ron Waterman. Do you remember that?
Yep. Oh, Ron.
And
Colorado native.
I remember we was talking to them guys. I was like, what are they doing? Ron used to do like this. It was some sort of religious thing where they go around and like give pep talks and encouragement. I don't know if it was for sure religious, but they did them at churches, they did them in schools.
Yeah.
They would like tear phone books in half. They'd bend
that's the power team.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They'd like bend a frying pan, curl it up like a taco, and snap a bat.
And they could do that.
Bro, do you remember Ron?
I remember Ron.
Those two guys would come down to that.
H2O, right?
Yeah, they come down, H2O man. He'd come down in that yellow Hummer. And then I was like, these dudes.
I remember that. I mean, I just remember I know I was never going to be in the same cage as those.
Wow.
Thank God.
This dumbass did. I remember being like, the first time I got in there, I remember I was like, what did I just do?
Already, right? I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyways, we got a lot to talk about. More stories like that. Because the room was awesome, dude. I must say. So real quick, for everybody that's hopping on here real quick, Sean was a teammate of mine. Obviously, fought. He transferred. He was. What year did you get your black belt in jiu-jitsu?
2010, I believe.
Yeah, so it was after you got done, because I remember, I think when me and you started rolling, I think you were, or when we were training, I think you were like a purple brown belt.
Yeah, I was purple when we started.
When I remember that, I was like, dude, how tough are this belt game? Because I remember like we would do like when Tyrone Glover would come in, and they were like, oh, he's a black belt and stuff. I'm like, we'll see how good this stuff. And next thing I know, all my eyelids are popped out, dude. I'm all choked out.
I thought we were friends.
Yeah. We're teammates, guys.
Same team. Same team.
But yeah, so he's a black belt, and he's a boy from Alaska originally. Loves to hunt, loves to fish. I mean, he's a straight up good dude. Before we get started, let's just go ahead and let him in, Cody, if you want right now. We'll get a party started.
Andrew, what's up, man? Andrew.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, bro?
What's up,
Call back. Tell him to come back.
You can't hear him? I can hear him.
I can hear him.
What? Why can't I hear shit? What'd he say? What's he saying?
He said, what's up?
Hold on, Doug.
I can't hear anything. Luke's kid was messing around with his board, and now nothing works.
How about now? Say something. Hello?
Andrew, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Is he there?
Yeah, he's still there.
Dude, this is frustrating for me.
Well, that's part of it. It's work through technical difficulties.
We're super professional on this podcast.
Oh, it was. Well, I like to call that super tuning. When I get a hold of most of my equipment and I make it.
I don't know, dude.
It's because I super tuned.
What's the question? What's the question, dog?
I can't even hear you now. What'd you do?
Oh shit! Really?
Hey, man, where can I listen to all your podcasts?
How about now?
Podbean, you can listen to them on Podbean. You can listen to them on Spotify. You can listen to them on iTunes.
Yeah, how about now?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear that homeboy. That's crazy. I don't know what's going on.
He's not talking a lot. He's just talking a little bit.
Andrew, you still there, man? I lost it.
All right, him, dude, that's kind of fucking weird.
He was asking where he can find the podcast.
Oh yeah. What? Come on, dog.
Cody hooked him up.
Come on,
he knows
dog.
a little bit because he's calling in, right? So he's got both of them.
Oh, come on.
We should be live back on YouTube too now, so streaming. Y'all should be getting that shit. Sweet, good. You know what I mean? But yeah, word to note: don't let Marcus touch my keyboard ever again.
Thanks, son.
Yeah, right. So, anyways, Sean, man, it's been a journey. I want to hear a little bit on growing up in Alaska, though. First.
Yeah, man. You tell me. You tell me where to walk. I'll talk.
Well, let's talk about life in Alaska real quick, just not in a nutshell.
Yeah. It's a lot different.
It is.
Oh yeah.
And what town did you grow up in?
I grew up in a little town called Two Rivers, so it's right in the middle of the state, outside of Fairbanks. It's it's a different culture, and there's a few things about it. The first is that it's real. And that's what I enjoy. Because there's a lot of insulatory factors of living down here in the States that, it is what it is. I've been down here quite a while, almost 20 years I think now, and in Alaska, it's nice. Like airport road leads to the airport.
Yeah, that's it.
And
right.
Not a lot of bullshit. The roads go where they're supposed to. People are real, and there's a different part to the culture because everybody has to exist in the same environment. So
right.
Simultaneous to you living your life, you're all in this quest to survive, and you kind of have this constant to understand and overcome, which is a little bit of life and death all the time. Because there's not always someone to call, there's not always someone to come. So there's a different level of responsibility, different level of accountability, different, brotherhood and sisterhood that kind of exists from just everyone trying to survive still.
Right.
And Yeah, it's a beautiful place. I mean, where I grew up, we say it's, it's where Alaska really starts. Because if you live further south, like in Anchorage or somewhere along the coast, it's cool. You're far north, but it's still got all the, chains and people and
McDonald's.
mild climate. Yeah, and it's just not as real. So like in the interior, it's not as bad as it used to be. It's getting better according to my friends that still live there, but the weather it's cold when it's cold.
Yeah.
You got winter for 9 months, summer for 3.
Yeah, that's the part that.
Those are your 4 seasons.
Yeah, right. So like, is your area the spot where it gets like dark all the time?
Yeah, and in the winter it gets down, I think, about 4 hours. I think that's the trickiest thing. That was the biggest bugaboo for me. I mean, the cold stinks, but the dark is where I'm out. And it's really tough. It's tough on, like, I know my personality, and everybody kind of gets it. They call it SAD, seasonal affectiveness disorder. So you get a little bit of cabin fever too because you're inside so much.
Yeah.
But the tricky part on it is just those 4 hours. If you go to school or you have a job, you may never see the sun. And if you're from the Midwest, and maybe I don't know what it's like in Nebraska in the winters, but up there it'll sock in, so it'll get gray.
Yep.
And then it'll be light, quote unquote, light out, but it just illuminates and deilluminates. So you just see a different shade of gray.
Hate it.
And then when the sun's out, you can't feel it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So it's different, but I mean, it makes you hardy. That's the thing with Alaska. It'll make you or it'll break you. And I like that realism. I like that. I have appreciation for it, I guess. I don't like it that much because I left.
Yeah.
But it has some real factors where it's either going to make you or break you.
Right.
And it was tough. Like I said, for me, I noticed just my habits and my tendencies, and man, it was bad. I had a couple friends kill themselves. It gets
depression, probably.
Oh man, bad.
Like the cabin fever, right?
Well, statistically, per capita, they have the highest suicide rate.
Really?
But it's per capita. So, but yeah, the cabin fever, and it just gets you, and you just get in a rut. You don't do nothing, you don't see no one, and then your vitamin levels come down, and you don't exercise as much. Yeah. Everybody gains weight, and then it has a trap to become a cycle. But like I said, it makes you break you. So those who are there, man, they charge, they figure it out, they endure, they drink, whatever it does to get you through, or are active. I remember growing up, I think she was our school counselor. They were big skiers, ton of cross country skiing. Like, you just get after it.
Really?
Yeah. Another kid I grew up with, I'll never forget this kid. He punched his horse in the face one time. I've never seen anything like it.
Oh,
but
shit.
he rides a lot of bicycles in the winter, those fat tire bikes.
Okay.
Takes them with dogs. But yeah, I remember his name's Adam Cagley, AK, and we grew up together. Our moms knew each other, and then we was close and like wrestled, and then played baseball, and he was just always on the team. And one time I was at this barbecue, and shit, man, we were just shooting shotguns, having a good time, drinking, had a bunch of pony kegs, and then someone had a horse, and I was like, "You arm a horse?" I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, he's young, it's pretty fun." I was like, "Cool." So I jumped on it. This fucking horse took off, and it took off like he wasn't listed. And I was like, "Uh-oh." And we were running. There's a potato farmer that had a bunch of fields planted. Just goes hauling ass through these potato fields. I was like, "Oh man, Paul's gonna kill me."
Yeah.
Because I'd worked for him before, plant strawberries and plant potatoes, and I was like, "Oh man, the
This
spuds."
ain't good.
Oh, he's gonna be pissed. Yeah, because it ain't time to pull the spuds out, and we're just stirring it up.
Yeah.
This freaking horse is charging, and I remember there's a road and the ditch on either side. You remember them like Civil War movies where they shoot the horse and boom, just goes down, and the guy on top just caves to the side. Yeah, I was just like, I'm gonna die. And I was just yelling I remembered some dog sled commands. I was just yelling like, "Gee, haas," fucking throwing out everything I got. And I was just holding on, letting it buck, and it got to a tree line and stopped. And I just jumped off, and I was like, I tried to get the reins, and it bit me. And I was like, I don't know what to do. So I was like, Adam lived right around the corner, so I walked to his house. Said, "Hey man," he grew up with horses. I didn't grow up with them. We rode them a bunch, but I never had any. And he come back over to me, and like I said, he goes to grab the reins and nips at him. He just fucking pulls back, pow, smacks it. I was like, whoa! He just straight clocked it. And Adam he's one of the strongest
dudes out there, right?
Oh man, dude, for real, like yeah. And we just always called him AK, and he just cranked this thing, like didn't even think about it. And I was like, I guess the horse looked at him, and then he got the reins, and we walked it back. And I was like,
shit.
Oh,
that could have been bad. Dude.
He smoked it, dude.
That could have been bad, like really bad though, on your end.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
oh yeah.
End? Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, it could not have been good. Well, especially if you came off too, because at the point, you know how it is. Like they get up on step, it's real bad, but when they're chucking, it's smooth. But then when they slow back down, or if they come across, and this thing's wiling out, you don't know what's gonna go.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, a little story.
Yeah. So, I guess in the 3 months that's freaking nice in Alaska, you're probably cutting wood, getting ready for winter.
Yeah, that's the tricky part.
I mean, it's kind of
about it.
like what I do here around here.
It's a vicious cycle, right? Like, I mean, it's different too. So like, a lot of folks, it kind of gets you that way in that you spend all summer getting ready for winter.
Yep.
And then when you're a kid, it's great because you can do whatever you want. Then as you start to get older, you have a house, you got things, there's never enough time.
Yep.
And also, if you're a working man, that's when all the work is done. So it's
non-stop.
Yeah, you got to get it. And it's just, but it's kind of cool because with the sun being out, you get crazy. So it's not the most like stable place to build your your habits because it's all the extremes.
It could be crazy. So I guess like growing up there, like was it like a thing for you to get an animal for the winter, like your meat supply and stuff like that? I kind of feel like I'm a little bit of watching what is it, Alaskan Frontier Days or whatever the fuck. What's that show?
Well, first, some of them shows are a bunch of fucking imposters.
Yeah.
So I can't say much about it. I don't know all of them, but a bunch of them, like the one that's making the most money, a bunch of motherfuckers from Minnesota. So
what is that show called? What is that show called, Cody? Alaskan Frontier Days?
The one on Discovery?
Yeah.
Alaska: The Last Frontier?
Yeah, something like that.
That one sounds more legit. This is the one.
I don't know, dude. I just remember watching a few of them, and I'm like, damn, this shit looks rough.
one from Jewel's legit. I'm a Jewel fan.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who they are.
The one I'm talking about is like the ones that are down the southeast, and they're like bringing people in and living on a barge and doing this and doing that, and like they leave for this winter.
Yeah, I've only watched a few. And
that's it.
What is it?
Alaska Bush people.
That's it. That's exactly it.
That's a whole
thing, right? A lot of come and give it to them.
Yeah. The Jewels, I mean I actually like I said, I'm a super fan of Jewel. I had so much appreciation. I got to listen to her kind of speak her mind. I think it was on the Rogan podcast, and I found it really inspiring. Just the way she's lived her life and she's been able to piece things together and how she's trying to turn it back over and give it to society and give it to children as a useful tool to help manage their experiences. I was actually pretty intrigued by it. I'd like to integrate some of her things to jiu-jitsu.
Really?
Yeah. I was very impressed with her experience.
She's a gangster, dude.
Man. Talk about walking it.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to talk about it.
She walks and talks about it. Yeah. So I guess what was kind of like the sport life as a kid in Alaska? I mean, they have basketball.
So I'll hit your first question because a lot of kids' families are that way where they'll harvest an animal in the fall and subsist over the winter. My family didn't roll that way. Like I remember growing up with kids and they'd be gone in school come September because September 1's open season for moose and it's on. And so they got to go do that because their family would.
That's how they live, yeah.
Subside, yeah. So the subsistence lifestyle is still present there for a large extent. It's really present amongst the indigenous people, the native populations, and it's different too because the laws don't apply to them. They built this incredible culture over the sands of time and living in this environment. Yeah. It's astounding, and still been able to survive and evolve without fresh food. So my family, my dad killed a couple moose when we were younger. And then he started making more money, and he just wasn't into it as much. He's like,
hell no.
Yeah. He's like, man. Well, he was a real analytical guy, so he did all the math.
Yeah.
And he's like, it doesn't make sense. And he didn't live for it. He liked to fish.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of fishing, and we would go fish, but it's tricky. So where we lived at the middle of the state, so where the fish actually come in to spawn, you got to drive 6 hours, 4 hours to get there.
Yeah.
And so we'd make trips and we'd go, but again, work.
Yeah.
Work. So as far as the lifestyle subsistence go, some of my friends and other kids, that's how their families fed themselves. My family they both were higher educated, had good jobs, made good money, and they were late in their lifespan having kids. So they were better off, more established.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, man, I'm going to take this consistent plodding course to career and success. So he didn't necessarily have to fish and hunt, but he liked to fish.
Yeah.
He loved to fish, and he would take us hunting.
Yeah.
But so it wasn't as constant for me. And then to answer your next question about sports and whatnot, it's like everything in Alaska is a little bit behind. So it's kind of beautiful when you get the chance to go because it's real. It's simple and it's real. But as far as keeping up with the Joneses and trends, like it's maybe 20 years, 10 years behind.
Oh, for real. So you guys are still on dial-up out there.
Wi-Fi.
They
don't even got it in a lot of places.
Yeah, there's no Wi-Fi. Probably hardly a lot of places.
You can, or you pay out to ask for it. It's satellite, feeds.
Yeah, that's expensive as hell.
And it's tricky. So like, and it is what it is. Like you kind of go back a little bit to the Stone Age, but also you kind of go back to what matters, which is really nice. Like, I enjoy it, and it's not for everybody. Like, sometimes it's nice to have your cake and eat it too. Sometimes it's nice to tune into the real frequencies of life and stay focused on what's present, not just the Jones and what's next.
Yeah.
But so they have sports, but it's different because the competition levels changed and the experiences are different. Where I grew up, I was just blessed. I was super lucky. Like the community was real strong, and it's been this weird theme throughout my life. It kind of just is followed in a wave, and that it follows our generation. The parents that were around this group of kids that reared children all around the similar time, and they fucking showed up, hard, and it's pretty cool.
That is cool because you don't see that too often nowadays, right?
And not out there either, because most time folks go out there because it's cheap, and you live out there. You like to mush dogs. It's a big dog mushing community, and so like those two things are kind of like you're married to your craft, not to your family as much. And man, this wave that kind of came up through me, like I said, all the parents were phenomenal. I was phenomenally spoiled. My mother was an educator, so it was all in for and understanding the development and the roles of sports and athletics and community and exposure.
Well,
trials.
It shows in you though. Like you are. I don't even know how I'd say it. Like everything you say, like you can tell that you have done your research, and like when we're bullshit talking, like you can tell if you don't know it, you find out. Yeah, you do the research, and it's good. What do you got, Cody?
You got Andrew back.
Oh, he's back.
He back.
Andrew, what's up, man?
Hey guys, sorry about that.
It's all good. I can hear you better. I don't think Luke can.
I'll carry this one. Cody now handle. What's up with you, Andrew?
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, sorry, I don't have good service up here. I just
Where you at?
Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
Ooh, that's calling in. It's a long ball.
Yeah, I actually just hiked over to my neighbors just to sit outside and get some Wi-Fi.
Dude, there you go, making it happen. Appreciate the connection.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, so anyways, I was actually, Skinny Codes, where can I listen to all the podcasts? Because on Bullhorn and the Apple Podcast app, it only goes back to like 89, and that's it.
So we got Podbean. Everything should be on Podbean. Everything should be on iTunes, Spotify. Some of the stuff is uploaded to YouTube, so you should be able to find it in a couple different places. Yeah,
that's what I've been listening to it on YouTube, going back from number 1. But on iTunes, it only goes back to 89.
Yeah, that's weird. I'll have to check into that. iTunes only goes to 89?
No. Time to refresh it to...
Number 1's with Ava, right?
Yeah, no, tell them to redo the app, update the app.
Did you hear that, Andrew?
Yeah, all right. I'll update the app.
Yeah,
Tell them to update the app. I just looked at all of them.
So he can hear you just can't hear him.
Yeah, it's weird, man. I don't get it.
All right, I'll try that. But yeah, anyways, I just want to say what's up, and I just got a new bow yesterday, so I'm shooting
Nice. What'd you pick up? What'd you pick up?
It's a Elite Terrain.
Nice.
Just a cheaper, ready to shoot. I'm starting to get into compounds, so.
Nice. That's awesome, man. It's a good thing to get into for sure.
Shot longbows.
No, I'm good, dude.
Nice. That's awesome, man. Well, glad you're getting into it.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, you guys have a great, and I'll catch you on the flip side.
Right on, brother. Thanks for calling in. Talk to you.
Yeah, cheers.
Damn, dude. Sorry, my bad. I'm sorry, Andrew. I'm trying to fucking...
You can take these ones out.
No, I'm good. I'll just get new. I don't know. Maybe it's...
I doubt that's what it is, but I just meant you could literally take these ones so then you could hear them.
No.
Okay.
Let me see. This is how we're gonna do this. We won't figure this bitch out. It might be these. I don't know. But it's weird because I can hear them very, very little.
Oh.
So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. Either way, I'll fix it here in a minute. But anyway, Sean, I was getting to the point so before we took this call, like So let me ask you this. When did you move from Alaska to here? Was it here in Colorado your first state? Where'd you live before?
California.
Oh, shit. You went
Can't,
to...
Can't California.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't help it, though. I mean, so growing up, I loved motorcycles. And,
that's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Couldn't get enough. And with only 3 months out of the year, that was my number one deterrent from hunting was I would ride in the snow. Like we used to start our tires up. We just ride as much as you can. And so he used to watch all these dirt bike videos and they would always be in California. And I said, well, shit, I got to go to California. It's big tits and bigger jumps. Like, let's go.
So in Alaska, did you have a dirt bike?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My grandpa actually, funny story, he sent me my first dirt bike when I was 6, and we bought it down here in Colorado Springs.
Really?
He shipped it all the way to Alaska.
Holy cow!
I remember my dad told me, he said, "You're gonna pay more in shipping than that bike costs."
Yeah.
He goes, "I don't care." He said, "The boy wants it, boy gets it."
No kidding.
Oh man, I'm so privileged. It's so spoiled. It's hard to put into words. Like I said, it's killer community. I hit the jackpot lottery with my family, and then my grandparents was even better. So like, imagine how much time that you put into your son, and it's beautiful and it's wonderful, but it changes if you got a 40-hour week plus commitment, right?
Yeah.
So my dad literally's gone, right? He's working. So then my grandfather from my mom's side of the family would come up every other summer, and he would
just
teach me life. Yeah.
Oh,
so my dad taught me how to be a man, and my grandpa taught me how to work, right? Like, so I could spend all time with him. We would just work. And he was from an older generation. Like they were immigrants from Portugal, and they immigrated to Hawaii the generation before him.
Really?
Yeah. So like, make it work. I think he had a 6th grade education, if that, and like go.
Yeah.
So it was, and he didn't believe in the banks. He grew up through the Great Depression. He grew up through World War II. Like it was a different time, a different field.
He kept his money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember when he threw a fit, my mom tried to got him to put some of it in the bank, and he was like, no. And like, I remember there was a fire one time in a shed, and he's losing his mind while all the money was, buried under the shed.
Yeah.
So like, it's just different, So he was big on us being able to take care of ourselves because he's seen what happens when the government isn't there. He's seen what happens when the bank takes your money. He's seen what happens when, nobody cares, or when the planes show up and they start bombing, how people react. So it's different, and it's wild. I remember he was there when Pearl Harbor got hit, and they thought he died. He didn't come home for 2 days.
Damn, really?
Yeah. Yeah, wild times, and things like different stories, he didn't come home for 2 days, and then like Hawaii is a super racist place. It's tough, and he was always treated differently because they're not native Hawaiians, but they're dark skinned because he'd been there and worked outside his whole life. So if you're dark skinned, you're different, especially in a military context. So you're always treated like a grunt and hated on.
Really?
Yeah. And it's funny because in the same flip, he was racist, super racist himself, being different, And I remember stories because my father's African American, and my mom never bothered to tell anybody that. She didn't think about it.
Yeah.
And then he went over there to visit her, and she was still living at home.
Oh shit! And he was like, "Oh, what is going on?"
These black dudes show up. He's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And no love, no respect until my dad. He blew off a date with my mom to help my grandpa, I think, pour concrete. And then my grandpa's like, "Oh, wait a minute," because that's a few things in this world don't lie, and working's one of them, right?
Yeah.
So, but long story short, that's kind of So my first dirt bike when I was 6, and my dad loved motorcycles, but he loved road bikes, and I was on a motorcycle in a front pack when I was nothing.
Really?
Oh yeah, like probably days old.
Holy cow! So that was just you're calling, and you just wanted to be on a bike.
I just grew up watching him, right? And I sit on it, press the horn, start it. Like I just loved him. And before I had a dirt bike, we had 3-wheelers. I had a 3-wheeler. I guess my dad had a 3-wheeler.
Yeah.
Yamaha 200.
I fucking had 3. Yeah, Honda. Was it?
You had a Big Red or what?
Yeah, Big Red. We had 2 of them. My older brother and my dad bought me one. Like I said, I'm just as spoiled as you when I was a kid. But I remember just riding up and down the alleys.
We used to go. So like, I had this was a 200-e. It was a shaft drive, which was badass. The hard rear suspension, nothing in the rear, had forks in the front. And I was so little, I'd want to do wheelies, so I'd stack cinder blocks on the back of it.
Yeah.
So it would get
up higher.
Yeah, and it would just balance, And I remember Yeah, my parents, they adopted a child before they had me. So I grew up with a brother, and he crashed a two-wheeler one time and got stuck underneath it. Gas was pouring out on him, you know.
Yeah.
So I run inside. I remember I got my dad's like, "Hey, Dad, tell him what happened." And he goes, "What?" And he just tears out of the house, starts running, and there's this big fence, and it had like, it was probably, I don't know, I was little, but I think it was at least 5.5, 6 foot tall, because my dad was big, he was like 6'5", and we had a dog. He was a husky, and he would jump over the fence when he was young. They called him Sky King. My dad fucking tore ass out, ran through the fence. I'll never forget it. I was like, holy shit, my dad's actually Superman.
Yeah.
Right through. And went over there, flipped three-wheeler over, you know, and he was fine, but my dad was freaking out. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, them three-wheelers.
They're crazy. I was like, why would you buy one? Because because it was the best.
But you guys had two. You didn't have one. You had two.
Dude, I remember we had our helmets, and it was the best time. You know, our cousins had them. We all had them, Mike.
It was on.
Yeah, we all just would go to by the cemetery and make there's little bumps and shit. And dude, I remember the one time I fucking flew off. And, you know, as a kid, you just get back on it and just go.
Yeah.
But, you know, now that I'm like, every time I go by it, you know, I'm like, God, dude, that could have been so bad.
It just rolled you over and buried you right there.
That's what I said. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of the gas, you know, I had gas pouring in my crotch one time. My buddy ran out of fucking fuel on a jet ski. I put the gas can in between my legs.
And
right? And I fucking, the choppy of the fucking leaked in. And if you ever had gas in your crotch, bro, that is fucking not cool.
You remember.
Yeah, you will never put gas anywhere on your hand ever again.
I had a similar experience.
What was that, gonorrhea?
I'm kind of still
got him.
Oh
but anyway, so you moved to California. How long did you live in California for?
Like a year. I was going to school, so I wasn't going to go to college. I wanted to drop out of high school, and what kept me in school was sports, was wrestling. And my wrestling coach, Walter Armstrong, man, till to this day.
He said, "No, Sean, you gonna stay in school."
Well, he just kept me hooked. Like he gave me goals, and he would talk to us about setting goals. He talked to us about framework. He talked to us about Russian wrestlers. He talked to us about the mind. Yeah. Right, it's the first time I was ever exposed to it, and I again just blessed. He coached me from 6th grade all the way through my junior year. I didn't wrestle my senior year.
Oh wow!
He did us a favor. So our middle school coach, that was the start of middle school 6. He left, and he came down and would coach us.
No,
he's a gangster from way back. Like I remember, so his first child was born. He has 2 daughters, Jana and Taylor. And when Jana was born, he kept his wife in the hospital an extra day with the baby, so he could coach us at regionals.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and it meant.
But in hindsight, that's pretty fucking smart.
Yeah, well, it's good for everybody.
Yeah, because
he ain't gonna be there. Yeah, he's not gonna be there. And but I mean, the level of commitment that. When I care about my guys, like I've had the chance to start training and teaching and working with you and working with Tete and Tomas and Cody, and these are the things that were given to me, so I always feel entitled to 100%. Make sure I give it back.
I get it.
Because I was just blessed.
Yeah.
Before him, my first ever wrestling coach was a guy by the name of Ron Richards. And same thing, I live in the middle of nowhere. It's a little town, named after literally the Big Chena, Little Chena, like the 2 rivers that run through it. And there's nothing for kids to do, Kids, they start drinking early, start doing drugs early, accidents happen, idle hands. And man, he had a wrestling. He used to wrestle, so he taught us wrestling. Really? And then the legend there was this kid named Adam Anders, and his parents developed the whole valley, so it kind of spills out. The Tanana Valley is what spills out, but where we live on Two Rivers is called the Pleasant Valley. It's really beautiful. So they went out there a long time ago. And they used to literally tow people through a dirt part of the road that would get real muddy and nasty when it rained with the dozer, because your trucks wouldn't make it for your car. And so he literally developed the valley and started, people started inhabiting it, coming more once there's a road, there'll eventually be people. Yeah. So his son, he had 3 kids. He had 2 boys and a daughter. I think it was Adam, Aaron, and Leanne. And anyhow, Adam was a state champion. And same thing, like everybody, the community always helped, and he was a state champion because another guy by the name of Bob Logan got in a little bit of trouble with the law later in life, but he helped Adam out through wrestling. So then like, everyone always gave back, right? So I remember he was this legend. He would come in and, you know, we're nothing. I did my first wrestling tournament when I was 6, and like Adam Andrews shows up and he's, oh my gosh, you know, local legend. And,
yeah, it's kind of like when I step on the mat now.
Kind of a big deal, you know. People bow. I saw someone got pregnant. I'm not sure how that happened, but it happened.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you got powers, dog.
Yeah, I don't know.
You gotta control them.
I don't know about
you gotta tie that belt a little tighter.
I don't know about that, dog. So I guess, you know, I know this kind of where I want to go with this podcast, but when did you see yourself entering the MMA part of it? You know what I mean? Like, you left California and you were like, I'm gonna start fighting?
Oh, no way. I never wanted to fight, to be honest with you. I thought fighting was stupid.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I love to wrestle. Always loved to wrestle. And it's funny because I quit after my junior year. I got to 6th in the state, and I just said, I'm burned out. Had enough. I'm going to make money. I'm going to race snow machines.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, I again, just surrounded by such good people. There was a guy I never forget, Tim Glenn. Man, he told me, he's like, man, don't quit. Like, come back to wrestling. Yeah. Because we had a good, I mean, it was a real community. And it's different times. Like, you know, I mean, the season wasn't this long, but I remember when school started, wrestling started. When school ended, wrestling ended. Like, I'm sure there was some time in the spring where we didn't do nothing, but they used to open the room for us, and we'd go in and just have open mat.
Yeah.
And we'd play wrestle ball and just curse and talk smack.
It was the hangout for the kids. Yeah.
And you just go and then like, but man, we have to keep our weight, make our weight through Thanksgiving, keep weight, make our weight through Christmas. We'd come in over the break and have to train. Like, it was a real deal. Yeah. And I remember later in life, what was it? I was training for the Ultimate Fighter, and I went home to be with my family. I talked my dad into getting his knees replaced.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I got to train. So I was like, hey, coach, can I come in? He's like, yeah, I don't know what you're going to do. I was like, I'll be fine. Like, I just need to get some work in. Bro, the practices for 2 hours.
Oh, shit.
2 hours. I was like, I got this. I'm fucking G, you know, that hour hit, and my body just said off. Like, stop sweating, muscles locking up. Yeah. Like, there's these kids, and I'm like, all right, you got to keep going. So I slung it. I've never been so sore and so tired. 2 hours, you know? And you're just not used to it. You don't realize how, because we was doing a lot of work with Lauren Landau, and he was big on, like, you know,
turn it on,
sprint.
Turn it off.
Yeah, he's like, you guys are not endurance athletes. You shouldn't do anything for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But so anyways, so I never really wanted to fight. I found jiu-jitsu in California by dumb luck, and that's kind of where it went one thing to the next. Like, I was going to school there, and there was used to have a wrestling team, so there was a mat room, and I remember I was lifting weights. That's what it was. I remember it was the first time I never lived. I didn't know anybody there, and I went there, and this first time I ever lived away from my family or even community. And like, excuse me, small towns, you know everybody, right?
Right.
I never knew any of the streets. I would just tell people how to go places from like landmarks.
Yeah.
And so it was a big, you know,
big change for you.
Oh yeah.
Culture.
Oh yeah. I didn't know I had social anxiety. I just showed up. I was like, what are all these fucking people doing here at the same time? I was like, is there a fire?
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, no, motherfucker. It's called celebration. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
and then like, I mean, even probably seeing the girls and everything was probably different.
He wasn't ready.
No.
He wasn't. Oh, I remember. So, no, dude, I was not. So yeah, girls, there's not a lot of females.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. In Alaska, there's probably.
My pimp game peaked in middle school.
Really?
Oh, I was killing it in middle school, dog. I was unhooked. I remember I was 6th grade dating an 8th grader. Like,
oh, you had the game.
Oh, I was unleashed.
Damn.
Yeah. And then started growing, getting awkward, gangly. Yeah. My wrestling career also peaked in middle school because I was the same size. And then I started growing.
Yeah.
They're like, you want to play basketball? I was like, I fucking don't like basketball.
Yeah. Because you're tall, right?
Well, I wasn't always, but then I kind of gave away my gifts, man. I had crazy growth spurts in high school, but I was starving myself a ton. Like bad eating disorders.
Oh, really?
Through the wrestling.
Yeah.
Old school, right?
Oh, yeah.
The wrong ways. And, man, I'd gain 20 pounds every year and be skinny as a fucking rail.
Yeah.
I'd just keep going up weight classes.
Yeah.
But, so anyways, I get California, and then I was lifting weights. I remember I was talking mad shit to my dad. I was like, I'm going to come home. I'm going to fuck you up.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're going to what? I was like, you're going to get it, Dad. You've always been able to whip my ass, and I'm fucking lifting weights. I'm eating everything in sight. I'm going to be unstoppable. He's like, all right, you better lift extra, because I'm going to fucking plant you 10 feet in the ground and come home. One smack. I was like, all right. We'll see.
Yeah, if you ever seen his dad, oh my God.
Yeah, if you knew me, you knew my family.
Yeah, like you gotta have like, what was that saying Rocky said? You gotta have 10,000 pounds of brain damage to get in the ring with him, you know? It was like he was
always that guy. We'd always be down, so like the kids would be like, all right, we're gonna take on Mr. Sims. And like, get him. And like friends come over, we'd be like, all right, guys, I need your help. Today's the day. We're gonna conquer the mountain.
No way it happened.
Oh, I got him. I think was it his 60th birthday? And I actually was big enough then, and like I gave him swats. Oh, he was fucking mad.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, bro, he's legitimately threatened me. He literally almost cut my nuts off one time, like literally. And I was fucking proud. So like I did this jiu-jitsu match, and Amal set it up where he made a bet with the other coach. He's like, if my guy wins, you gotta pay. So I think I made like $100 or $200 on the table. And I bought my dad a kimono with that. I was so happy. So I went home to visit. Like, here, I got you something. I put it on. I'm going to fucking show you how to train. And I got him in a triangle. And he's like, all right, let me out. And I was like, no.
Oh, you did that.
He's like, let me out now. And I was like, no. He said, Sean. And then my dad wore his jeans underneath his gi pants. Oh, shit. He always had a knife, fucking pulls his pocket knife out. And he's like, and he was fucking serious. And I was like, hey, I'm your son. He's like, I don't fucking care. He said, let me go now. I was like, all right.
You about to have no nuts.
Yeah, I was like, it's over.
Oh,
bloodline stops here.
That is funny. Yeah, what a dude. What a guy. I remember him always having his, was it his Nikon? Did he have a Nikon or a Canon?
It's Canon.
Canon, right? Yeah. And he would always have his camera gear.
Oh, man.
I mean, he was always around. Because he would come and watch us train, or when he have a fight, the band would be there. Dude, just awesome, dude. Monster, though. Big dude. You could tell.
Oh,
You did not want to get on his bad side.
Dude, so, like, I never wanted to whip my dad's ass until, like, well, you always wanted to. Young line, old line. Yeah, you think so. I remember one year I was wrestling, and I was feeling tough. Like, you've been wrestling for a while, you're in shape, and to this day, I don't remember what it is, but I remember I had my shirt off, and he was on some stairs above me, and I went up to him, bowed up, I said some shit. I don't know what he says to this day, but he reached down, grabbed me by my chest skin, picked me up, and then fucking throws me down the stairs. And I was just like, well, that was the only time I ever challenged him.
And then you're like, oh, I better put my peacocks away.
Yeah, so then like maybe fast forward 4 or 5 years, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a man now. I'm lifting weights, I'm getting strong. And then,
No, it's the same thing. Like you just don't get it. That's like that older brother strength that I always try to fuck with my older brother, and man, it's just like I just stop before it gets to that point where I'm like, although I think now I may have the upper hand, but I don't know. I feel like I got dad strength now. I'm dad now.
Yeah.
I gotta have that dad strength now.
Hey, that's what we're doing. You're gonna kill him with technique.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, you can choke him with his own belt.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's what this guy tried to do. He's like, I learned something from Sean the other day. I knew it was, and he's reaching for my belt. I was like, what are you doing, dude? I promise you that shit ain't gonna work by you.
Not gonna fall.
No. But it was funny. So you went California Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
Then you came to Colorado.
Yeah, California was wild, man. Like, I actually broke my hand right away training jiu-jitsu. It was funny. So I go to this mat room. There's all these guys. I heard they was wrestling, so I just go. I was like, oh man, I'd love to wrestle. And I show up, and they're like, ooh, good catch. I was like, what are you guys doing? Like, we're doing jiu-jitsu. I was like, what? And they're like, jiu-jitsu. And I was like, well, I'm here to wrestle. You guys want to wrestle? And they're like, no. Yeah. I was like, well, fuck. They're like, well, we'll show you how to tap, and then you can do what we're doing. I was like, all right. I was like, I'm gonna wrestle all you motherfuckers. You're about to get a taste. Yeah. And I proceeded to double leg and single leg the shit out of everybody, pin them. And I was like, King Kong's here. Yeah. Bow down. And then they proceeded to choke me.
Yeah. They got that neck and.
Bro, I'm talking like old school chokes. Like fuck, like I owed them money. Yeah. And slept with their girl. I mean, like when you be training and just like everything's cool and you're going and you're like, I'm about to win. Are you pin? You can't even tap. You're just like, what's that sound? Oh fuck. That's me. And then either that's for you or it's not after it happens. And after that, I was like, man, they have a whole new game that begins where my game ends.
Yeah.
And that was the light to me. I was so excited because I could learn to wrestle all over again.
Yeah.
Because that process and the journey of wrestling, I really loved it. So like I quit my senior year, raced no machines, went to work, and then I made it a year. And then I would come back and I was like, Coach, I just train with the guys. Like I missed it.
Yeah.
And so when I got that, I was so excited. And I also couldn't swallow for a week.
Yeah.
Like they bruised my throat.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucked up.
I remember it's kind of similar deal. I was in bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
I missed wrestling, and I seen the mats 2 stores down from my store. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna go in there and roll and wrestle. You know, it's gonna be my cardio.
Yeah,
right? I wrestle with these guys because I see them. I thought they were wrestling, but they were doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And the same thing, dude. I'm in there fucking jacked at what I weigh
and
right
feeling
now.
Good. Yeah, feeling
like jacked right now. Like I'm fucking jacked. And I go in there with the fucking guys skinnier than freaking 150 pounders, you know, and I'm freaking taking them down. And next thing I know, my arm's fucked, my neck's fucked. They're taking my back and choking the fuck. And I'm tired too, you know, right? Like, so that not a whole lot have changed, right? But I'm like, what the hell is good to have all these muscles?
Oh yeah.
Right? Like, and I can't even, you know.
Well, that's, you know, to me, that's the big motivation behind jiu-jitsu when that light comes on, because everybody's walking around with a false sense of confidence. We live in a civil society. We're enabled and empowered and restrained by laws and adherence to these laws and law-talking people that, you know, will throw the book at you.
Yep.
So there's a false sense of security. And, like, that's something for me that it's not hard to see because the law of the land is still very real in Alaska, you know, in regards to where you're at in that pecking order of life and how quickly the tide can change because of the realness of the environment and the realness of the extremes. Yeah. And also just the isolation. If something bad happens, it can get bad quick. So, like, I've always been attracted to those things. Like, you know, me and Cody, Don used to always talk about that. He's always like, if you know, in another life, he was running around with his whole body painted blue, just fucking on the warpath.
Yeah, he's a Viking.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lived in the Viking area, I believe, dude. That's all he wants to do.
Yes. So, you know, either that kind of stuff speaks to you or it doesn't. And, like, I'm with you, man. I had the same aha because, you know, there wasn't a time that I was more jacked, you know, and more ready and more just more about just talking about it to get me fired up. Like, I'm starting to feel I'm getting hotter and hotter. Like, you know, you're stronger than you ever been. You was bodybuilding. I was Olympic weightlifting. Like, I was feeling great. And then, then you're just fucking.
And then you're like, what the fuck?
My first teacher was named Chavez Kaleem. He was, he's probably bigger now, but at the time he was all of maybe 135 pounds. Yeah. And, man, just a sweetheart of a guy. And was actually a real good friend of me in California, and he taught me. I broke this finger right here, which was crazy. We were wrestling and someone shot in and I hit it on their shoulder, and I was like, man, I've done this, I'm sure 1,000+ times, and I just hit it just right and it broke. But it was the best thing for me because I got him to put a cast. I was teaching swim lessons at the time, so I still needed to be able to take it off to work. And so they didn't put a full cast. They put like a cast I could take off and put his bands around.
Soft cast.
Yeah. Well, it was a hard cast, but it was open. So you take it off. And he would teach me jiu-jitsu. I just would put the cast on, wrap it up, and then teach me. And then there was a tournament coming up. I was like, fuck yeah, let's do a tournament. So I'd run in the woods. I'd just have to keep my hand above my heart, and I'd run all these trails in the woods because I couldn't train hard. Yeah. So I'd run, and then he'd teach me jiu-jitsu, and then I got it's healed, and then like boom, do a tournament. Go.
So how long ago when you started to train jiu-jitsu did you do your first tournament?
2004.
Oh shit! So right away.
Oh yeah, right away. Like a couple months. And I just wrestled my ass off. I remember I did a couple things. I think I have a video of a VHS tape of it somewhere. But
the old ones. Yeah.
I think I got a rear naked choke. I know I got finished with the guillotine because I'll never forget it. There was this big guy, JD. He was a prison guard, and like local legend, right? Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna go against this guy. Like, I'm gonna fuck him up. And I double legged him. Again, bigger than shit. And he locked up a guillotine. And I tried to pass, couldn't pass. And then eventually I was getting choked and I had to tap. And everyone's like, why'd you tap? I was like, I don't even know what that was. I just know that I was passing out.
Yeah, I couldn't breathe. going dark.
It was over.
Saying that, I literally, when I first took the transformation of going in the MMA gym, like, you know, doing it, it was literally 3 months after I started doing, you know, jiu-jitsu. in Thai boxing.
Yeah.
And then
What'd you do first?
So I would always go lift first,
Oh.
and then I would always come in for the jiu-jitsu part later after I got done, right? Well, then after a while, I would do kickboxing, the Thai boxing part first, and then after that, they would do jiu-jitsu, right?
Okay.
So I'd always miss the kickboxing part, right?
Yeah.
So then after that, I would start going to go lift afterwards. I was putting the lifting on the back end.
Yeah.
Because I started liking
Got
the
that
shit,
hook.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, this is the shit, right? I love it. Fuck, 3 months later, I'm fucking going to Okoboji, Iowa. 9 hours away from my hometown, paying $125 to get my ass whooped. Right? Like, I'm like, what the fuck?
The trophy I won, I still have it somewhere. They got these plastic army men from the dollar store and then spray painted them gold, silver, and bronze.
Yeah.
And you paid to do a tournament.
Yep.
He's like, shank, thanks.
Yep.
You know?
I mean, that was it, though. Like, literally, I took it, and we were like, fuck, I want to do a fight.
Yeah.
And it was like Okoboji Winter Games or whatever. And it was like, I thought my guy got snowed in, his guy. So
you drove 9 hours, 6 hours or 9 hours?
9 hours.
In the winter.
Yeah. I mean, there was like probably 80, 90 people from North Platte that went to drive. We were in a train, like car after car, going to go watch me fight, right?
Dang.
Right? And my guy got snowed in, and the promoter, Brad Fuller, and guy that, goddamn, I forgot his name now, but big hook and shoot guy. Anyways, he's like, hey, man, you still want to fight? I was like, yeah, man. I mean, look at my people here.
Yeah, we came.
Like, we came here to fight.
Yeah.
He goes, you been training for a while? I was like, yeah, man, I'm good. I'm ready to go. He goes, all right, man, I got this guy. Want to be main event? I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the deal?
Why not? To the top, bitch.
Brock Larson.
Oh, you fought Brock Larson?
My first fight was Brock
I
Larson.
remember him.
Remember the WEC
Yeah.
guy champion?
Oh, yeah.
He was
He's a
champ-
stud. He's a stud wrestler.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Stud wrestler.
Yeah. And so we fought on an elevated floor ring, right? And this is no bullshit. He had a whole crew from Minnesota that drove 2 school buses, yellow buses, that had kegs of beer on them. Right? They were a bunch of fucking
There you go.
guys. Dude, it was
They were
perfect
ready.
because they had like overalls on, drinking.
Yeah.
I mean, it was straight
Midwest
Yeah.
throwdown.
Midwest guy.
Yeah.
And literally, I said, yeah, I'll fight. He was fighting at 189. I weighed in at 160.
Oh my, are you serious?
Yeah, and I was like, cool. Yeah,
Louis.
my guy was like, cool. It was the first fight. I was like, yeah, he ain't gonna do nothing to me. What the fuck, right? Everybody, this is no bullshit. We got fighting, and literally, we just sat in the middle of the ring and just fucking rock and sock, just slugged it, boom, 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 right? Literally, no time. There was no
What?
minute. Yeah,
No rounds.
No rounds.
Old school. That's old school. It's over when it's over.
Yeah, and literally, and we could start seeing us, trying to fatigue a little bit. He kind of backed up a little bit, and I fucking just freaking smoked him. And he kind of rolled out of the ring, the floor ring, right?
Yeah.
And they said he got knocked out during.
Oh, the hometown love.
Right? So they stopped it, rolled it back up. Literally, I got pictures of my brothers holding a K-cup, holding the boxing rope on the floor, on the ring. My crew all on one side, his crew on one side, like literally. It's like some shit you see in the movies. Dude.
Yeah, and then not a better thing when you're
Yeah.
that age. Like, man, let's go. I got my whole team.
Yeah,
You
right.
got your team. We're all here. Get the beers rolling.
Yeah,
Oh.
so it was crazy. And anyways, they came back in. They gave him time to get back to 2, and they just wanted to see more fights.
Then you got there, keep going. You were the main event.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had this cut on my nose that just would not stop. And luckily there was a doctor there. He goes, hey, I'm gonna nitrate. I think he freeze it, whatever it was. He stuck a free stick in there. He like poured it in there.
Yeah, I had that nitric. I don't remember what it's called. I had that down as in high school. Yeah.
And anyways,
nitric
it
oxide.
fucking woke me the fuck up right away. Like
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh shit, fuck yeah, I'm ready to go. My trainer was like, you good?
Maybe, was it silver nitrate?
Maybe something like that. I can't think of it. But anyways,
It cauterizes it.
oh yeah, stop the bleeding. I was ready to go, right? Literally went back out there. He fucking double legs me.
Oh,
I mean, we literally
You're like,
just like
great.
beat the shit out of each other. And he just double legged me. And that motherfucker laid on me for a little bit. And I just got tired as hell. And I remember just hitting him from the side. And I tried to shrimp.
Yeah.
And I remember posting on his head, and that was it. I remember he grabbed my limb.
Oh.
He fucking just like pretty much Camiro'd it off.
Yeah.
And I was like, tap, tap. And yeah, he beat me. And I remember after that first fight, dude, I came home. I could not see out of both of my eyes for 2 weeks.
Oof.
Dude, it was so bad.
Ooh,
I had
sweet.
stitches in my nose. My mom was like, what in the fuck are you doing?
And what are you paying to do?
Yeah. And everybody was, and I couldn't wait to do it again.
Yeah.
Right? I couldn't.
Yeah.
I was like, I could not wait. But
More.
yeah, that was literally my first experience of fighting, dude.
It's funny. Anytime I ever hear someone punch from the bottom, I just think of Dueno.
Yeah, right?
Remember when he fought BJ?
Yeah.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like,
Boom,
just
boom. Yeah.
Couldn't be a more real fighting spirit, but I always go that image in my mind.
Of Dwayne doing that, right?
Sending it.
Know.
Yeah, love it.
Know.
Fucking hard.
What was your first fight in Ring of Fire?
No, it was at a strip club off I-70. It was you remember Bad Boys? Keith Schmelzer.
Yeah. What the hell was that? They closed that strip club down now.
Probably.
You know who used to run that club? The Gennari dad. Steve Gennari's dad. Big time wrestling coach. He was part owner of it. I remember because Nicole and my buddy used
down
to.
off I-70, wasn't it?
Yep. They used to have a lot of fights there.
I just remember we went in and went in the wrong side. And I was like, oh, fuck, right on. I was like, is this what we're doing instead? I was like, all right.
Yep.
Nipples for everybody.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you're on the wrong side. And I was like, oh, let's just stay here because you're so nervous.
Yep.
I was like, oh, this is where I want to be. This is good.
Your first fight. What do you remember your first fight? What do you remember?
First fight. It's funny. What I remember the most is like it's honestly the highlight of my whole fighting experience. You know, like I'm a has been, never was been. So like it don't mean nothing. But I would do it all over again just for this one thing that came in the first fight. The two things that I remember, like I said, the most is I won. And my dad came in and he picked me up with one arm and carried me around the ring.
Hell yeah.
Fucking top of the world, bro. He used to do it always when I was a kid, and it was my favorite thing. Yeah. And like just any attention, Yeah. And then that moment, man, to this day.
Yeah.
Top of the world.
You can't beat that. Yeah.
No. Yeah. Top of the world. And then the second thing I remember afterwards, I was like, this ain't as cool as everyone makes it out to be.
Yeah.
Because everybody, all my buddies before, Elliot Marsh took me under his wing and he was mentoring me, and he and Tyler Toner was helping me out as well, and they're giving me a lot of advice and pep talks and stuff. And I'm like, all right. And then we go, and I remember I weighed in. They're always like, yeah, bro, you're tall for your weight. You'll never find anybody taller. The fucking kid I fought was 6'8". I was like, what the fuck? What kind
y'all lying to me?
Yeah. What kind of circus would you guys find this?
Yeah.
I'm weighing in. I'm just like, I don't even know what to do with anybody that tall.
Right.
And then I just remember like, I'm just gonna go fuck this guy up. And like, I remember the fight started and the promoter goes, this is how the first round should be. Pay attention. And like, I just like came out. I was like, I'm gonna throw a right hand, left hook as hard as I fucking can. That was my whole plan.
The whole plan, right?
And I remember chucking, and I threw it, and I was like, where'd he fucking go? And like, I looked, and he was running.
Oh, he was like,
he like, no.
Yeah, he wanted nothing to
yeah,
that.
I literally sprinted across the ring through a right hand, left hook, and he just ran down the cage, and I turned, ran after, and he was still running. By the time I caught him, I got him from behind, and just picked him up, fucking slammed him, and then I just choked him out. And then I had a black eye. He closed my eye. He punched me
from the back.
Yeah. I was like, this motherfucker.
Yo, shit.
So yeah, that was what I remember from the first fight. It was the biggest thing. That was the favorite part of the fighting ever. That time with my dad.
It's crazy, because I remember my first fight, but I don't remember a whole lot of fights in between my whole career, right? Like, I don't. Bits and pieces. Like obviously, the ones that you win real fast, or you got the one where you got the shit kicked out of you one. Like, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Right? But like honestly, like I remember my first and I remember my last for sure.
Uh-huh.
And at the time, I didn't think it was my last.
Oh yeah.
But it was like, I was content with it. Like at my career, where I was like, man, I know I could have done more in my training camp, but the fire wasn't there.
It was in Canada that last one?
Yep. Yeah. Well, remember when I think it was me, Cody, and Brandon Thatch fought all together.
Yeah.
It was it went from TKO to Instinct MMA.
I remember because Tyrone fought on that.
Oh, he did?
Me and Christian went up in corner.
Yep. Yeah. And
but it was after you guys.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah, I think those were the only Colorado guys that were on there when I fought.
Yeah, he wasn't on the card with you guys.
Okay.
I remember that.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. For some reason, I just got a weird thought that, because it wouldn't. I remember, because we went, did you guys go to a school? So there's the indigenous people, I don't remember what tribe it is that are there.
No.
It was really fucking cool, I thought.
Yeah. No, we didn't do any of that.
Okay. Yeah. So, because I know Brandon Thatcher has been all about that. Like, he's into that.
Yeah.
And Cody, too. They, like, giving back. But, like, yeah, they literally stopped the school, brought the principal and the chief together.
Oh, wow.
And it was honoring the warriors.
No shit.
It was super
Yeah,
cool.
that wasn't us. And
I just thought it was, culturally, because that's something that, like I said, we're losing.
Mm-hmm.
We're losing. All these motherfuckers walk around and don't realize you can get murdered, you can get raped.
Yep.
And people live in this false sense of security, man. It's still real.
I know. And I think it's the best is like with that quote on social media when Mike Tyson says that people got softer. What is it? Can't get talk too much shit on social media. They can't get punched in the face
From a keyboard.
Yeah, keyboard warrior, whatever.
Well, all that. Yeah, I'm not a big social media guy. I just, people don't, and it is what it is. A lot of it's not necessary either, right? Like if you can't solve things with your words or use your mind, like evolve past it and through it. But like I said, it depends on where you're at, depends on what you're doing. Because I've had some travels where, and if you're into the stuff that we're into, where you actually appreciate and enjoy the natural cycles of life and the earth, like you respect those hierarchies and you enjoy them, and you appreciate some of the balance that occurs because of those things, And to me, it'll grant a better space to have a verbal dialogue if you know that you can't step past that line.
Yeah.
But and not even not step past that line, I guess, if you know where that line is within yourself.
Yeah.
That's what it more is about, just the personal journey of understanding you.
Yeah. Although there's sometimes where I wish there was sometimes where you guys can just fucking go out back and just whoop the shit out of each other.
You figure it out.
Yeah. And be men, about it. You know what I mean? No one's going to court. No one's doing anything. Just take your ass whooping and be on with it. You know what I mean? You just can't do it nowadays,
No, not in this.
Not in this time.
No.
Yeah, it's crazy. So you remember that when you became the part of, I'm going to stop fighting and I'm going to pursue jiu-jitsu, did you find jiu-jitsu like okay, I can do this because I miss fighting, or did you just say, fuck it, I'm cool with not fighting anymore?
Yeah. I mean, that one, it's a little tricky. So, well, first, like I said, I never really wanted to fight. So I love jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And I hit this point where I was going to move to New York City and live in Manhattan and try to trade at Henzo's, or I was going to go train with my teacher's teacher, who was a malt in Boulder. And I decided to come to Boulder because I went in New York City. I spent a week there, and coming back from a trip from Asia. I was in Asia for 2 months, and then I spent a week in New York City. It was kind of cool, different story. But anyhow, I started doing jiu-jitsu, and then nobody wanted to train as much as I wanted to or as hard as I wanted to. And then that's how I got into the fighting, because then the guys were like, if you want to wrestle, come do wrestle with us. We wrestle these days. I was like, I like wrestling.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, man, you kind of like this. And then, because I remember before, I have a friend, Jared Hardy, that I knew. I lived in Fort Collins.
Yeah.
And he was a police officer at the time, and he had keys to the cop shop. And then their training facilities, they had a mat room. And on Sundays, they would do like MMA. He was big in MMA.
Yeah.
He's like, man, you should come. He found out I used to box. I started boxing when I was 18. And he's like, you should come do MMA. I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, let's just train jiu-jitsu. He's like, come do it with us. So I went, and then I remember we had this guy training us, called him Sailor Tom, and they gave us the like big gloves, and he was like telling me what to do, and I was like, all right. And then I just started wailing like Tom. I just fucked Tom up. And he was like, damn, bro, you didn't have to be like that. I was like, well, you said we said to fight. Like,
right?
Fight.
Yeah.
And then he's like, maybe you should do this. I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I want to train jiu-jitsu. But so yeah, when I quit, it's different for me. Like, I went out on a loss. I got knocked
me too, though.
Fuck out.
Yeah.
And I think it was like 12 seconds or 13 seconds or something.
Was that the one when you fought Vitor Belfort's
yeah.
Guy?
What's his name? It's funny because his last name, like, that's my same as, but a lot of people get that last name, Ferreira, Cesar Ferreira.
Yeah, I remember him.
Which is my mother's maiden name.
Oh,
so
no shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's culturally, it's how it goes.
Yeah. And so you were just like, I'm cool giving it up or what?
Oh, no way, no way. Like, so what hooked me into fighting was it's your last chance. Like, always as a child, I wanted to be a professional athlete, right? And all the other windows had closed.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I was just going to try to chase and make money and just take, work impatiently when I was young. I was going to be a mechanic. And then I started working at a power sports shop when I was 16. And I was like, wow, that's not the direction I want to go.
Yeah.
So I got to taste it before I ate it. But then, so when I stopped, or when I got knocked out, my dad was with me. And it was fucking shitty. You gotta make sure you don't get a brain bleed because I was out for so long.
Yep.
And then they put the wrong dye. They missed my veins. They put in twice the amount of the dye that you normally do.
Oh,
I had allergic reactions. Like, you're all fucked up afterwards. I had back concussion. I was itching like crazy, like breaking out, scratching. Couldn't sleep anyways. Was all fucking frustrated and, going through life. We went and visited. We got some friends that live in Poncha Springs, the Knocktribes, Dee and Dana. And so we went and visited them and just spent time with my dad. And we talked a lot. And for sure we decided to take some time off.
Yeah.
And then I started working because I never made money.
Yeah. Shit. Fuck.
Oh, when I decided to quit, I think I was $8,000 in debt, I think, and I had like $5,000 or $10,000 in medical bills as well.
Yeah. Plain simple.
And I was like, and so the job I had was a great opportunity, but I never made money.
Yeah.
Like, I was always making less money than I was spending, and and it's a tough balance because you need time or money, right?
Yeah.
My whole life I never made over $20,000 all the way up until I was 28 years old.
Yeah.
I lived life. I got to travel the world. I got to be higher educated. Got to have killer experiences, but never made any money.
Yeah.
Didn't sit still, and so
I was right there with you, man.
No money.
And I fought out like in the UFC. Like I tell people, I was like, I signed my contract 3,000 to win.
Yeah.
Or 3,000 show, 3,000 win. You know what I mean?
And the biggest show on earth.
The biggest,
And you made it.
Yeah.
You
and
made it.
Like,
you were pumped about that.
What am I
33.
now? Yeah. What the fuck?
Well, I taught a lesson in class the other day that's saying that exact thing. So we were looking at what's his name, Alex Olenek. I can't remember how it's pronounced, but he's like 43 or 44, Russian dude. And he's submitting everybody from weird places.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, and he submitted a guy with a head and arm choke, and we go over that move in class, right? And I was telling the fellows, I was like, how much money did this guy lose because he didn't know how to escape this position? And we did the math on it. Like, I think he was fighting for 16 and 16. So he only got half his money, and then his next fight back, he's gonna get that same place, and he might not. So potentially he lost half his money. He lost not going up in his contract, and he lost potentially not doubling his next contract too. Yeah. So it's like, man, you guys are getting a cheap discount on like $100,000 plus move.
On a move, yeah. Plain and simple. I know. It's crazy. It's rough, dude.
Yeah. So for me, it came down to a few things. Like, my family, we always had a saying where we don't know what we're doing, but we're going to do it together. So we always did everything together. It was I had 36 years of the best, like the dream. The thing that everybody's trying to create and everybody's trying to have and pass on, I had it. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so when when my knee-jerk reaction was like, you lose a fight, like, fuck this, I'm fucking out of here, fuck you, fuck this, fuck it. And then as time sat, like, I had to take time off. I had different for me from a lot of guys. Like, I had a lot of concussions before I started fighting. Like, I didn't really sit still as a person.
Probably biking and everything.
Power sports didn't help. Yeah. The first time I was out was I'll never forget it. I had a used helmet from a friend of mine. Yeah, and I was 16. I remember this because I had a cell phone. My parents gave me a cell phone when I was 16, but it didn't do no fucking good. You never had no signal anywhere.
Yeah.
But anyways, I crashed. A piece of rope got in my wheel. I went over this jump and it locked up the wheel, and then I just wham hit the ground. It was a pretty big jump, and I remember calling my parents. I was like, I don't know where I'm at, and like they just hauled ass over there.
They knew where you were at. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was there, and so that was my first time I was out. But yeah, that was tough. And so yeah, anyways, took some time off. I met this girl, and I'd been talking to her still, and I remember everyone told her, like, after I lost, like, oh, he's breaking up with you. Like, you guys are fucking done.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, because, like, fighters wild out.
Girls, they think.
Well, not only girls, but, like, you're immature, you're emotionally mature, you're unstable, like, and you're living fast, living hard. Like, it's just war in your brain all the time. It's just on.
Yeah.
And so, like, something bad happens, it's like, oh, all omens out the door.
Yeah.
At least that's how, I used to roll.
Yeah.
And so yeah, in long talks and a lot of time with my family, we made the choice to hang it up. And like a lot of reflection for me was, what turned the corner for me was I sat and thought about what do I want out of my human experience. And I looked at the sport of fighting, and with my concussion history and the problems I was having, and even if I chose to go back to fighting, the risk started to outweigh the reward, because the two things I felt I had to offer were my genetics, which you can pass on, and then my experience. Mm-hmm. And I looked at it as, even if I'm the 1% and I do really good and I make money, I'm not going to make enough money to be set for myself and my family for the rest of my life. Right. So I'm going to have to continue to work. And if I lose my faculties or have an issue, because I had a lot of problems coming back from my last concussion, things took a long time to turn back on, and I had a lot of side effects. And I was like, if this stays this way, man, it's real tough. So the two things I have to offer, I'm giving one of those away, my experience. So it wasn't worth it to me, Yeah. And so and even if it would happen, it was such a small window in life. I could do this dream and chase it and have an 8-year experience, or I could try to build something that's longer, and that's more important, because it was important to me to be able to be there, not only for the family that I didn't have, but the family that I did have. And if I lost my faculties, I couldn't be there for them.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah. And I didn't have to. That's the other thing. I was privileged.
Yeah.
I was privileged. You look at guys that fight, I remember I watched a documentary on Miguel Cotto, and he's after a fight just crying. His fucking wife's crying. And he just tells her in Spanish, it said it, So he goes, this is all I know, yep. And for me, it was the opposite. I come from a different lineage, and where education was real important, where empowerment is real important, self-reliance is real important. And then I'd been to college, I'd done these things, I'd invested in myself, and I'm like, oh, I got to fucking use these. Here I am trading away my health for not wealth. Yeah. And then it might take away, what I wanted the most. Yeah. And the other thing about it, it's so tough though, because that was my chance, you live the dream. You could be the professional athlete. And I guess that was the only saving grace for me, is I gave it everything I had. I didn't half-ass it. I didn't get to fight on the big stage, and I didn't get to, travel the world and make millions, but I definitely had the opportunity to go all in, and I was able to do that. So it's easier to not have regret, because.
And I think that was kind of my whole deal too, is when I decided to hang it up, is I did it, mm-hmm. and I was happy I did it. I just, after, when you get released when you get cut from the UFC, you're like, okay, I guess I'll go fight, overseas, whatever.
Bahrain. I remember you and Cody went to Bahrain.
Yeah, and, I did that part, the money was even better, and,
you couldn't even see your shorts. You had so many sponsors.
Yeah.
There. You've always been a charismatic guy.
It's crazy.
Right? Well, people have stepped up always. Yeah. You got the je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm trying. Still, but it's just weird, because I literally was you know what? I lost the drive. I'm cool. It's funny, because I see people, guys that I fought still fighting. Mm-hmm. And now they're going the guy I just saw on Facebook, I'm friends with him now, and me and him had wars for victory fighting. Mm-hmm. We fought 3 times, and we had championship bouts for the belt. And he's getting ready to do bare knuckle fight right now.
Oh man!
And I'm just dude, what the fuck? Right?
It's tough too. The side of the sport that no one sees and that no one really talks about or goes to. Right? You go watch a documentary on Gary Goodrich. Right? You remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's tough.
Sad.
It's tough. And is it worth it? And that was the other thing. Some of the stuff I looked at, and everything's different when you're in it. Hindsight's always being 20/20. Yep. If I was willing to listen to other people, because there was I had a trust issue at that point. I felt like I was in some positions that I shouldn't have been in, because there are certain people that I trusted that took on the role and the responsibility to guide and participate in the choices in my career, and I feel I got left a little bit short. Ultimately, the responsibility always is your ass, right?
but at the same time, you look for guidance. You have, you need a team.
It was a wild experience in life, because I was at this critical step where you can't go where you've never been, right? You can, but it's gonna take you a lot longer to figure it out and to develop a map, instead of getting the map from somebody else or having someone mentor your journey. Yeah. And again, young, dumb, full of cum, so you just fuck it, let's go. Yeah. And but anyways, I forgot I was going on this point, but trust. So I just so the people that I listen to are my family, and look, fuck, you have to watch someone try to destroy something you created, right?
Yeah.
And then what's their life experience? Not sports, not athletics, damn sure not combat sports.
Yeah.
And so then also, you know, the most precious thing they have has the risk of being destroyed. Yeah. So of course the answer is fucking stop. And but you know, knowledge is power, because you know later I learned about different facilities and different doctors on the East Coast, you know, that can rehabilitate brain injuries and stuff quicker, because it will get better possibly over time. But you know, I had problems with it because so the gal I was dating ended up marrying her, and it gave me problems into my marriage.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So like it's just you have to do the work. And my old man, he's like, you better fucking do the work and figure this out, because she's gonna leave you, and she should.
Yeah.
Like it was just tough. And but yeah, I remember I watched a documentary. This guy he won the Stanley Cup. He's a hockey player, and he was like, man, he was 32, I think, and he said he would give it all back. He might not even been 30.
What?
Yeah. He's having so many problems because of the concussions.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't be there with my kids. I can't be there with my wife. He's like, I would give it all back just to have my faculties.
Wow.
I was like, man, you don't see that side of it, right?
No.
And even the sport now, everyone loves the sport, but like, no one's there when you're fucked up. No one's there when you're fucking puking. No one's there when you're shutting down, right? No one's there in the months after that it takes to put everything back together to go Wreck-It Ralph again.
Yeah.
But
I know, I get it. Yeah. It is the game that I mean, if, you know, what my dad told me was like, this shit's going to catch up with you, son.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's what my dad
and I was
said,
like, fuck, yeah, I'm fucking home.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
home,
baby.
And like now, this is no bullshit. Like my eyes are fucked up. I see double when I lay on one side. I already had eye surgery, you know, and it's just from trauma, from getting hit, right? And like, this is just the facts of it, you know, and
part of it, but it wouldn't change it.
No, I was in it long enough, and I got out of it at the right time. You know, thank God I still have my health. You know, I'm good. I feel like would I change anything? No. Would I wish that I did better in the sport? Yeah. And made more money? Yeah. But that's anything.
You would have spent more.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Different. I always feel like when I left the sport, I knew I was going to get into coaching. Mm-hmm. And I always figured I knew I was going to be a way better coach than I was a fighter. Mm. I just knew it. I really think I am, just because I always want to give the advice that I never had, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think that's like the big key now.
People miss that, Louis. Like, yeah. It frustrates me sometimes. I've been talking to some of the up and comers of late, and they're just like, oh, I want to coach. I love coaching. And I'm like, well, what are you doing? Yeah. And are you still training? Yeah. Because like, everybody wants to be the fucking master and sensei, because it's the easy way out. It's all the
to be a part of it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so not only be a part of it, but then like jiu-jitsu makes it even tougher, because like you're given these godly powers of skill. You're like, oh, I know something you don't. So it's, you know, it's a big pad to your ego and stuff, and especially people that haven't earned it, and like, and you don't know shit. You know something. You know more than somebody else, but you gotta, you know, that. What they say, like the 2 inches of your ass at the belt covers is legit, but you better take care of the other 98 inches.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go.
Well,
2%, 98%.
That's why I said, like, you gotta, you know, put your time in. It's just like even now, you know, so you're now coaching jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, well, not much stuff for real, right?
Right.
So yeah, well, I guess like, so for me, a big thing so it was real tough. It was tough to quit on my dream, because whether or not I always wanted to be a fighter, I set that goal. And I wanted to be a dream, and I had the gifts and ability to do it. But if you're not willing to pay the price, you'll never have it. And I wasn't willing to pay the price, so I never had it. And like, it was easier. It wasn't easy. It took me years. Like, I had to go to counseling to get over quitting my dream. Yeah, like, I was just torturing myself. Oh, and wow. It was tough. It was tough to stop. And then,
did you just feel like you were like letting yourself, like you just felt like you quit yourself then, or what?
I didn't feel like I chose to quit.
Yeah. And you thought that was just the end of the world.
Smart money. I didn't think it was the end of the world. It's just, but your time wasn't done. Like, it's easier for me now because I know what it takes to do that stuff. Mm-hmm. And like, I know I'm not willing to do it. I don't have the fire. So I guess like a better way to put it, I was talking to my friend. She's a doctor in New York City, and we were talking about football. And she's like, you know, it's no big deal because now we know how bad that sport is. And I was like, well, it's only a big deal if it's not in you. you know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's easy to pass up a fucking 300 class elk or look at Rocky Mountain National Park and take a picture of it. I want to drive my fucking truck into that thing.
Yeah.
You know, I want to steer it.
Yeah.
I will total this vehicle. I
Yeah.
will get out and I want to take a
exactly.
bite out of its freshly bleeding heart. Like, so it's tough, you know, to like, if it's not in you and you're just, oh, pretty bird, no big deal.
Yeah.
But I'll bite that bird's head off. Like it's tougher. So when I was younger, it's still in you. And like, that was what I was fighting. Was like, you know, just where do you, and I went hard left, right? So like I was hard right, chasing the fighting. And then I tried, I'll do what my dad did. You know, I got married. It was time to start a family. Let's go. Like I've always been an aggressive person. So I'm like, if I'm not doing this, I'm doing that. Like, let's go all in. And it's different. So like, I never lived in an apartment. I lived in an apartment with this gal. I'm living in the city. I never wanted to live in the city. I don't like cities.
Everything was just.
Oh, it was a hard left. And I was willing to do it, but it was just a hard left. And like, you got to pay the price. Then I went to work in the oil field because I went to Alaska and then I came back. We married ourselves. And then I was just chilling. I was training jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Just trying to figure it out. Leicester called me. We went and trained in Las Vegas. He got contracted by Vitor Belfort to help him out with his wrestling. He's like, hey, man, I'm going to come out with Vitor. You want to come be a body? I was like, He's like, I'll pay you a little bit of money. It'll be good. Probably run that Caesar guy. I was like, cool, let's go. So we go out there. Well, Caesar was gone for the whole holiday. But me and Vinny Lopez went and, you know, trained with Vitor, hung out. The coolest thing of that trip was getting to spend time with Vinny and Leisure. Yeah. And then I got to, with Dorino, Gilbert.
Oh, yeah.
I got to hang out and train with him. And that was the coolest thing because I was a fan of him from jiu-jitsu before he started. This is like, I don't know if he even had an MMA fight then. But we stayed and we trained, and that was hot for me because I was like, man, this guy's a stud, and he was super cool. And we got to just train, me and him. Like, I like that stuff. Like, no time limits and just real, like a real exchange. And so, anyways, and then I got back from doing that, and I got to play a good joke on Vinny. I'll never forget this. Like, Vinny, we stayed in his house, and there's all these Brazilians in his house, and then me and Vinny, so people are in and out, in and out, in and out, and Vinny's fucking taking a shower in the bathroom, right? And I open the door and I just go, oh, it's like I can speak Portuguese. Yeah. And he's in there, somebody's in here, somebody's in here. He all scared. He all there like, big old Vin Diesel. We're about some little Brasileiro seeing his pee-pee.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm punking him on the shows.
That's funny.
But it was fucking really cool because I was in love with love, and I was in love with this woman, and we were spending time, and he was dating his wife now. So we had some really just brotherly, heartfelt exchanges about life, about love, and just where we were at and what you want. And like, I had a different perspective because I already took the leap, and it was some beautiful times to be present in people's lives that I cared about.
Yeah. And it's crazy because you're still around, and they're still around, and they're still in the circle, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And it's crazy because it's just like me and you. Like, literally, we were just talking about hunting camp. Remember that? When was that? Fucking 6 years ago? Maybe?
When we were in Nebraska. We were at Kelly's brother's house.
Yep. My first trainer.
Yeah, Kelly Wiseman.
And it was me, you.
Shout out to Kelly. Was his brother Steve? His brother Steve, right?
And his son, what was his son? Big old dude. I forget. He's big now.
He wasn't big then.
No, and then remember that pig?
The potbelly pig.
Potbelly pig.
Yeah.
And we brought Gaethje out there.
Yeah.
And we stayed in our little tree house. Remember that?
Yeah.
Thing? And it was just like, you know, I forgot about that time until I just seen you today, right? We started talking about it. And we were literally whitetail hunting.
Yep.
And in between the day hunt, we were screwing around with guns, right?
Yeah, it's suppressed 22s. We were just plinking
stuff. And we had like hot dogs out there. I came behind Justin and just started smacking.
No. You told a joke or something.
Oh, yeah.
And then you were like, hey, what is it you like in your mouth? And he was like, he was on his phone the whole time. And he goes, I don't know, pussy. And then you look and it's like, pop, 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 dick.
Big ass hot dog.
Polish sausage over his grill.
Right in
just poking him. He was like, oh, he got up, like, threw his phone down, tried to foot sweep you, but then everybody was laughing. You were laughing so hard.
Oh, dude, I didn't
just
care.
fell out. Everybody was dying.
Oh, it was so funny because we were recording it. And then every pops up on my time off on Facebook. Dude, I got to post that shit because, you know, and he had the black frame glasses. Oh, yeah. I think he was fighting maybe in World Series of Fighting still. So
I don't know if he was even that far.
Yeah, maybe not. He was young.
Yeah.
He was young still.
Well, he had a cool journey. I remember when. So we used to go to Greeley. We used to go to UNC to wrestle.
Yep.
And I remember when he was still in college there, and we'd come in and he'd be like hanging out, looky-loo, and hang out, around the time and just shoot the shit. And then Leister would bring him down, and he was fucking raw as
motherfucker. I know.
Fuck all. He's one of these guys.
Yep.
Like,
what do I gotta wear a helmet?
Huh? Or what? He wouldn't even have a mouthpiece.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
he'd always spit it out. I was like, motherfucker, you better wear that. And then he got this like little itty bitty banana peel.
Yep.
That you put like over his front two tooths.
Because he couldn't breathe because his nose was so fucked up.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
now that we know, right?
Yeah. Now that you know. And then it was funny because I remember at the same time we were all battling for attention because I wouldn't say it was a murderer's row, but there was studs. Like there was the Jackson Wink exchange was huge.
The room was full.
Well, like for the rooms were tits. Like, I got a picture still. I remember I brought my mom in one day, and I said, "Hey, can we all get pictures?" I got this group shot, and everybody's in there, and then you guys all signed the frame for her.
Oh, cool.
And I gave it to her. But it's dope, like. So, but people will come up and get like time with Trevor. Christian was still pretty active. He wasn't really. He would teach classes, but he wasn't really hands on yet. He hadn't made the switch, so there wasn't any striking guys. And everybody was always trying to get time with Trevor.
Yep.
And Leister is the one that hooked it up for Gaethje.
Yep.
Because he was a nobody from nothing that didn't know shit. Didn't know jiu-jitsu. He didn't know how to strike. He got to wrestle, but he couldn't put the two together.
No.
So it was easy. You just see him coming, bop, bop, right? And then Leister traded his coaching time for Privates for Justice.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, too.
And he used to wrestling. He used to bum rides with Shano. Shano used to bring him down. He was in college. He didn't have nothing.
I remember that. Oh, yeah. I remember that as clear as day, dude. Yeah. As clear as day.
And I remember I was pissed because I wanted time with Trevor.
Yeah.
And I didn't have no money, and I didn't have no shine, so you didn't get no love, right? Yeah. And Brian Youngs I used to work with, which was good.
Coach,
he was a Muay Thai guy, but it was different. And like you just, Trevor had so much hype back then too. You believe it whether it's good or not. Like I think that's one of Trevor's honestly still like true skills is he brings out the best in people.
Oh yeah.
I'm not talking about coachability. I'm not talking about instruction. I'm not talking about acumen. I'm talking about just his ability when he bonds with the fighter to bring out the best version of themselves. That's it. I believe his greatest talent.
I mean, obviously I've seen it with Justin, but I think the more me outside looking in, I'm kind of like I'm right outside of the Rose and Trevor-Dale, and I can see a lot of it, and like that part of it, I see like that's where Trevor really shines on Rose because you have somebody that can adapt to you and read people. I think that's really huge because, but I'll be the first one to say like I try to read my students as much as I can, but like I'm just like, man, I can tell right away you better not quit your day job. You know what I mean? Like,
fighting's different.
It's hard to tell people this. Like, they think they're going to be the next Conor McGregor now. You know what I mean? And it's just like, bro,
talk shit.
It's fucking hard, bro.
There's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, it's fucking not everything that you see on TV.
And I mean, it's the age-old question, right? How do you teach hard?
Yeah, you can't. You can't teach hard, dude. You know that.
You got to foster it. Well, fuck, I remember the first circles, or what we used to call them Shark Tank. We used to call it Shark Tank. Dude. I remember that, and I was I'm not gonna have no heart. I'm a bitch, And Elliot was outside the cage. Tyler Thunder they're just yelling like the most hurtful shit to try to inspire you, and you're like, not now, guys, dude, not now.
I remember every time I would take a fight and we'd have those circles, right? I would be way more scared. Terrified
than the fight. Yeah.
The week before the fucking shit, dude.
I remember just going to training. That's the only regret I have of all my fighting is one, not getting better guidance, and two, not sparring as much.
Yeah.
We took way too much head trauma.
We were sparring 3 times a week, bro.
Yeah, that was not
way too much.
As I remember, we had some of my jiu-jitsu guys hard. Yeah, like not sparring, like just trying to fuck you up.
Nah, we were talking like we're trying to fucking beat your ass down.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it too. So like the analogy I always use is, this is where Gaethje, Leister, I believe, did a lot of good for Gaethje in the beginning of his career because I think of it like a horse, you know, if you think of a Triple Crown winning horse. If you ask that horse, or like your kid, what do you want to eat today? Bubble gum and ice cream, you know? That's fun for 1 day or 2 days, but what if you eat that for a whole year?
Yeah.
Your kid's a pile of shit. Same thing with a horse. Like, all right, horse, what do you want to do today? Let's fucking run. Okay, what do you want to do tomorrow? Let's run again.
Yeah.
And you're running in. The next thing you know, you got these, you know, thoroughbred genetics, this great animal. It breaks its leg, you got to turn it into glue.
Yep.
But if you take care of it and you manage it, it's Triple Crown winner, makes, you know, millions of dollars, has a illustrious career. You stud it out, makes you even more money when you stud it out. It's this beautiful lineage and the whole process, and it gains notoriety. But if you let it do what it wants, it never even gets, it's glue.
Yep.
So it never even gets to the point where it gain notoriety and do something else. And it's the same thing with fighters, right? If you let them run, they're gonna run.
They're gonna fight every time they get a chance. They don't get no, you know, no, let's not. We're not ready for this fight yet.
Yeah.
You know, because a fighter ideally should say, yeah, I'll fight him.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the problem too. Is like you gotta. So one, you have to manage the horse, and two, you have to build the fighter. Like that's the thing that's so sad. The sport was so young, and it still is young. Like so in other sports, like boxing for say, you'll pay the opponent extra money. So like, you know, you don't always get a dive per se, but like you build your fighter.
Yep.
And in building your fighter, you build more than just their ability. You build their confidence, you build their spirit, you build their soul, right? Because once you take that away, it's different if it happens at the wrong time. And people don't always build that. Like our Western way is so physical, we don't focus on the mind and the spirit as much. So for example, like, so if I'm trying to build Cody, I'll pay you an extra $2,000 to take this fight under the table. Yep. So on books, you make 300 and 300 to fight Cody, but I guarantee you're going to get $2,000 cash.
You get a little something.
And you're like, fuck, all right, yeah.
Yep.
So then, you know, you're building these guys, and like it didn't happen as much in MMA because the sport's young, but that's how fight sports really are. It's pimps and hoes.
That's totally boxing.
Totally boxing. Oh, 100%. I mean, that's the way the game is. It's always been. The other thing that's weird, I'll go on a rant on this motherfucker if you get me turning up. But so like it's poor people's sport. Like the people that fight don't have another way out. This is their way out, right? Yeah. So in that game, like in the game of capitalism, it's based on exploitation. So they're exploited hard, and they get used up, and so like either you are exploiting or you're being exploited. Yep. There's no middle ground, and you know ideally you have a good pimp and you guys go to a good place, but man, make no qualms about it. Like you say, everybody shows up and they want to play fighter, but you know as well as I do, like, you know, you're sitting there fucking eating a bowl of rice. Like I remember Rafael Dos Anjos, his first fighter, Rafael, I guess they pronounced it. Motherfucker, guess what he had to eat after he made weight? What? Guess. What would you think? First fight in the UFC, first or second maybe. I think he might have already lost one. I met Gordo, and we was at a fight in Dallas, and he was on the card. Guess what he ate?
Subway.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwich, ball of water.
Really? I believe it, man.
And I mean, so like, you know, and you know, like after all them fights and you're sitting there in the hotel room with the boys, like, or by yourself.
Yeah.
Like, it's different, but I mean, you know, if you like that, I like that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's my idea of a good time.
Yeah.
But like, for everybody else, you know, you say like, oh, you wants to play. Like, you don't play shit. Like, you fucking do it or you don't. And when you do it, you gotta like to suffer. Yeah. You know, it's funny because there was I remember a guy who's a doctor, a friend was training him, and he was like, how do you guys do this shit?
Yeah.
Like, why? I said, you just gotta love to suffer.
Yeah.
That's what I told him. He just like didn't get it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you gotta love it.
And that's the difference. Like you gotta literally love to fuck yourself up and go through and be broke.
Yeah.
And be hungry.
Yeah.
And that's why, like in my career, dude, I literally, when you said, you know, be that stepping stone, I was that stepping stone, and that's how I got my shots. So I took
last minute.
Yep. I took shots that I was supposed to be somebody's stepping stone, and I ended up beating them. And then that's how
like,
I got, who's this motherfucker?
Who's this
right?
heavy-handed?
But that's how I got my opportunity to be, you know, in the UFC, you know.
Did you go in right about the time Kid was in, Alvin Robinson?
Yeah, I was in before him.
Before?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. A little before him. I would probably be there probably a year before him.
Well, that's a funny thing to me too. Like, you know, when everybody says they want to fight, I'll see where's your brain at.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Like I've always enjoyed the mental angle of things more. You know?
Yeah.
But the physical stuff, it's pretty easy. It takes care of itself. But like that's where you get the.
Well, you find out real fast. Like in the locker room, or mine was always like when I took the fight, the contract. I was like, okay, it's time to go, right?
Yeah.
And then you prepared your whole way up there, and now when you're about to make that walk, and you're warming up in the back and whatever, and you're like, all right. And this is when you know in the back room or that train camp, did I run enough? Did I cheat myself? You know what I mean? Because there you know if you cheated yourself. And there was a few fights where I knew I did it. Yeah. I fucked up. And rightfully so, I lost because of that. So that's when I knew. I was like, okay, I gotta go start training, get a strength training coach, start doing this right? And I mean, that's pretty much when I took the whole move up here, started training with Dwayne.
Committing.
And holy fuck, dude, I remember the first week at here.
How'd you know Dwayne?
From coming here and fighting.
Oh, okay. He was at the fights.
Yeah, he was fighting on the cards of me, and him and Leonard Garcia. Leonard was the champion in my division at the time. And,
in Ring of Fire.
Yep. Okay. And I said, I'm going to end up fighting your boy one of these times, right? And he goes, oh, right on. You know, Dwayne was always cool as fuck, right?
Super cool.
Straight up cool. If you
especially in the most tense moments.
Yeah, if you went out there and scrapped and fought and he didn't give a fuck, he came up. I remember him coming in my locker room after my fight and he shook my hand and I couldn't wait. I took my flip phone out.
Yeah.
Got a picture with him and we exchanged numbers and I said, love to come train with you, blah, blah. He goes, yeah. That's how me and Dwayne met, right? Through my fighting, and he watched me fight, and he was fighting K1 at the time, and I was like, man, I want to get good like you.
Right.
And his boy Leonard was my division. I said, I'm gonna fight your boy for the belt.
Yeah.
He goes, sure shit.
Did you actually fight Leonard?
I was getting ready to fight him. He got the call to fight the UFC.
Oh, he got pulled up. I'm a big Leonard fan.
Big Leonard fan,
huge
right?
Huge Leonard fan.
And so, ironically, I was supposed to fight him. I ended up fighting I fought one of Nate Marquardt's guys for the vacant Ring of Fire belt at the time. And so I won it, and you know that was a trip for me too, having Nate corner against me.
Yeah.
And I remember having this guy down,
you
right?
Look over, and, fuck.
And you know this is when we're fighting the boxing ring, and Nate Marquardt's literally coaching, you know, saying, throw your hips up, you know. And I just remember. Grabbing his face, hold the elbow, looking out, throw an elbow. And I was using his coach as a tool for me, right?
Yeah. Nate was the man.
Yeah.
You can't get any higher on the food chain.
No, dude. So like, and I didn't realize who I was fighting at the time, right? I knew he was good, Colorado guy from Nebraska. And when we go to the cage or weigh-ins, I see fucking Nate there fucking, you know, massaging his shoulder. I was like, oh shit, that's Nate Marquardt.
Yeah.
And I just watched him fight in the UFC.
Yeah.
You know? I was like, oh,
that was when he was probably on his run to fight Anderson, huh? Because I remember when that was going on.
He was a G.
He was a G. Oh, he still is a G.
Pancrase King.
He had his time. You know, he was in his prime.
Yeah. And
you know, everyone has their window.
Yep. And but yeah, so Dwayne and then when Leonard got the call to fight, man, it was maybe Roger Huerta. They invited me up to train with them.
Oh, to help him.
Yeah, and I was like, hell yeah, you know, this is fucking my dream. I'm gonna fight the UFC. I'm gonna end up fighting these guys.
Yeah.
Right? I knew in my head, so I wanted to train like they were fighting and see where I really was. And fuck, I remember one round. You know how Dwayne goes,
go motherfucker, go motherfucker.
And I remember me and Leonard literally looked at each other and said, what the fuck?
Only two Mexicans walked in.
What the fuck, dude?
Only one's coming out.
Yeah.
And you motherfuckers.
And literally, I remember us getting out of the cage, and from that day on, we were both fucking boys, dude. Yeah. We were just got after it, you know. Yeah. And and that's when I decided I'd come back and I was moving up here.
Yeah, you can't.
I can't.
That's how it is. Like so real recognizes real, and when you see something that on, either scares you or it hooks you. You know?
Yeah, and then so I had such a great experience with that whole moment, me moving up here, going up. Then I went to TTKO, right? And the first week, I remember
the old one off of Wheat Ridge there.
Yep, on 44th right there. Yep. I remember me being in my fucking car after practice one time, and just literally crying in the car. You know that saying, he gonna cry in the car, right? Yeah. I remember just grabbing my shit, sitting in my truck, and just like, what the fuck? Because I came from Nebraska, a small gym where I was the big shark, you know,
Yeah.
and I was shit in this gym.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know shit,
Yeah.
you know, and literally I remember Dwayne came out. He goes, "What's up, man? Let's go eat." Right? And I'm like,
no, dog. It ain't like that for me.
I'm good, man. He goes, no. And he goes, "Come with me. I'll bring you back here." We went all the way up to 120th to Brothers Barbecue. And he told me, he's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Man, I don't think I'm good enough, bro." He goes, "You've been here for fucking 3 days, bro. What the fuck you expect?"
Dwayne, though. That's Dwayne. He's
and he
there
goes,
for you.
"What the fuck?" And I said, "Man, I just don't think I'm good enough." He goes, "Why?" "Because you got beat." I was like, "Man, that little fucking dude, he was Christian." He was Christian Allen, right? And this little dude, he was fighting at 145. Little 145er, right? Little skinny ass dude. Fucking turns on.
Fucking Bruce Lee Jr.
Fucked me up.
Fucked everybody up.
Right?
I remember him choking me one time, and I was like, I think there's a cable around my neck. It felt like a fucking cable.
Yeah.
And I was like, is he fucking cheating? Like, does he got tools and shit?
Yeah. I had no idea who the fuck this kid was. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I literally, I remember being in the boxing ring, and I was going like this to him, calling him in.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, come on.
I was
You're
like,
gonna get something
he's
today.
small, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to get working.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I remember this motherfucker. Like, he was playing with his shorts.
Yeah.
Like,
the
he
whole
was
time.
mocking me.
The whole time. Like,
And
come
I was
on.
like, all right. So I hit him. He slipped and he fucking hit me. I was like, what the fuck? And then he started getting the fuck out of me. And then I would just remember just grabbing him, wrestling, throwing him down.
Yeah.
And then he would fuck me up there. And I was like, dude, this guy's like 145 pounds wet.
All I used to think was, slow down.
Yeah, dude.
Why are
And
you
he would
going so
Bop,
fast?
bop, 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 bop. And I was like, what the
Oh,
fuck?
man.
I'm done. I'm like, oh, fuck. I just thought I called the weakest guy in the gym so I could look good in the boxing ring, right?
I done lit a fucking firework.
Oh,
and it
dude.
exploded.
Yeah. And he goes, no. Christian's good, dude.
Yeah.
Christian's one of my coaches. And I was like,
Oh.
shit. You know, I had no idea who this dude was. And from that day, the first time we sparred, Christian was teaching like Wednesdays and Friday nights at T's. Excuse me. I would not.
Yeah, flashbacks to that word. That's what kind of power Christian's got. He'd come back, hit you in the liver from fucking 10 years ago.
I remember gagging a lot. Seriously. This motherfucker was real. I would not miss a practice that he would ever put on. And he would just work with the amateurs, a lot of the amateurs, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, and I'm a pro, supposedly, right?
Well, look at the amateurs are nice because it's like, it's fresh clay. And then on top of that is like, you get the chance to play too. Like he's such an intellectual and creative mind, man. I used to teach for Cody, and me and Christian would stay after. I remember being like, at first I start talking to him, I was like, I gotta go because I'd have to work in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'd have to be at work at 7, and we'd stay talking till like midnight.
Yep.
And I was just like, man, it's one of these real things that you can't
ever take back.
Well, you just like you're in the moment, and not only that, but like there's not a lot of it's beautiful conversation. So like he would also and working with amateurs too, he would be able to test and like try and like I'm gonna train this guy one way, I'm gonna train this guy another. That didn't work, so like I'll combine and train the third guy, half of both. And you mean proofs in the pudding, you create a Corey.
Like a Corey, yeah, exactly.
And the most beautiful thing about that is I take a lot from both those guys in my conversations and the friendships I've been able to exchange with them because it wasn't done in a managed way.
Yeah.
Because I've been taught and trained in managed ways, and it doesn't do you justice. No, there's only one Sean Sims, And so whatever else someone is trying to project on you, that's their truth.
Yeah.
But like, man,
you gotta adapt.
They only created one for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, there's not two Muhammad Ali's, there's not two Mike Tysons, there's not, all the greats, right? There's only one Beethoven, there's one, was it Tchaikovsky or however it's pronounced, like, it is what it is because it's found its unique form and gained elevation and light. It wasn't trying to be forced into a shape or direction or a color. Like you let it be. And that's a skill as a coach is like, that's what I like and do now and working at Genesis is how do I keep the flame alive? Like that's my job. Like I believe in jiu-jitsu. I love jiu-jitsu. And so how do I keep the opportunity open for everyone? Because I believe jiu-jitsu is a lot like Buddhism, not a religion, but it's a philosophy. Yep. And if you're a Christian, it'll make you a better Christian. If you're Muslim, it'll make you a better Muslim. If you're Catholic, it'll make you a better Catholic. If you're Jewish, it'll make you a better Jew. Like, it's good to be everything. And I think jiu-jitsu makes you a better human because, like we talked earlier, it'll force you to be on a path of truths that you can't hide from, that society's got us tripping on.
Yep.
Because you can be a piece of shit and make a lot of money. You can be a piece of shit and beat your wife. You can be a piece of shit and never see your kids and also make a lot of money. Like, the social constructs that come from a civil society still can be rewarding or empowering of a boisterous ego, of, you know, an unpolite person, of whatever it is that's your demon, right? You can hide it and it'll still allow you to progress. But there's I was talking to my good friend Chumba, who's a big mentor for me, and he's like, man, the Matt doesn't lie.
No.
And that's where it is.
It'll
and like,
fucking humble you fast.
And you'll hit a plateau too. Like, if you're able to stay on the path long enough, you won't progress until you come through the version of yourself that needs to be. Mm-hmm. And that's what the art is for. And I think that's what's so special. And that's where it's always tricky, because you get into money and politics, and it can shield the opportunity from that experience. And that experience is so important, just from also the perspective of, like I said, of the vulnerabilities of people. Like, you don't really know, like you said, you're the big dick in town till there's a bigger dick.
Yeah.
You know, you're the big fish in a little pond till you're in a bigger pond. So, like, to know not just where you stand in the world, but to know where you stand within yourself. Yeah. And then to realize how truly vulnerable everybody is. Yeah. And it's important, like, and bad things happen to good people all the time. Yeah. I'm not even talking about going out, getting drunk at a bar and ending up in a bad space. Like, man, people need to learn how to take care and protect themselves, male and female. Yeah. You know, I've worked with, I had one student, it was with Vinny. We did a boxing program at his gym when he was downtown. Mm-hmm. It was me and him and Brian Thatch. Yeah. Vital Strike Club. And it was fitness based. And I had a student like, oh, I want to learn more stuff, but for self-defense. I was like, be honest, you know, I'll teach you stuff, but you need to integrate jiu-jitsu with your striking if you want to talk about true self-defense. Yeah. It will force you to be in positions where you will be most vulnerable and where you will likely end up if someone is trying to take what you have. Yep. And, you know, it's near to my heart because the bad things happen to good people. Like, I grew up with it in my family. We had a family member who molested other family members.
Oh, wow.
And turned on them. Yeah, and it was a horrible thing when it came out. Scarred me as a child. Yep. And created rage within me. And it all got swept under the rug because it happened when he was underage. And it happened inside of his own house to people no one knows, you know?
Damn, really?
Oh, horrible. Yeah. Horrible, yeah. Nicholas Wilson. Horrible. And again, like, he lives his life and goes on and everything's okay because it's a juvenile thing. Yeah. But, you know, as an adult, as I've grown, as I've progressed, and how I've seen how it affects me, how it affects his family, how it's affected my family, and I'm legally bound to this person as a cousin through marriage, and I've watched the ripple effect over time.
What it's done.
And then you have to decide, too, like, what do you believe is right? Yeah. What do you believe is wrong? Where do you stand on that line? And how are you going to live your life? And what can you do to help people be able to take care of themselves? And that's where it's unique to me is, like, I've been coaching since I was in middle school. I used to go back to my elementary school and teach wrestling. Mm-hmm. And then I was in high school, I'd go back to my middle school and teach. And then I was finished high school, I'd go back to high school and teach. Yeah. And then I started teaching how to race and ride dirt bikes. Mm-hmm. And then I would teach swim lessons. And, you know, like, it's always been a thing. Yeah. So, like, you give, and, like, before that, my mom was a lifelong teacher and educator. So she'd always teach me how to teach, mm-hmm. and she'd teach me how to learn. So it's been a gift that I've been given that I want to spread, not only given for safety and empowerment, and for awareness. Like, that's my light to shine. That's my ability, like, to see the best in people. It served me good and it served me bad. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so, like, I never was really wanting to fully do it until I could commit to it. Yeah. Because that's always been my thing. I respect the opportunity and the power in the process and the keeping of the flame enough to not just play with it. Yeah. And I don't want to pimp it. If I can do it, I'm going to do it. Yeah. But if I'm not, then, like, I'll train, but I'm not going to try to, like, make a little money on the side and just play tiddlywinks for me.
And I think that's where me and you see eye to eye on this whole thing, because I literally have stepped away a lot from training people, private training. Even that, I mean, it's cost me a lot of money. But here's the thing, man. I literally have lost the motivation. I shouldn't say motivation. I found new motivation in my own family, my kids. Like, I've been burned a lot coaching a lot of kids, a lot of people, and rightfully so it's my fault because I let them take advantage of me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, fights, coaching them for fights and never got paid, or going a whole 8-week camp and never got paid. My fault. Me, right? Because I knew what it's like to be a fighter.
Yeah.
I know they're broke too. You know what I mean?
That's the tough part.
That was the hard part. And part of me was like, man, fuck this dude. If I'm going to do this shit, I'm going to get paid.
Yeah.
And I have literally paid my dues to do this, to teach people. Like, so if I want my money, I'm going to get money to coach you. And if I don't get paid, I'm not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of selfish of me, but guess what? If I'm going to the gym, it better be worth it because I'm missing time away from my family.
That's what, and it kind of comes down to that too, in my opinion, just that it's tough because like we've all been there, like Dueno, I always wanted to run his colors. And I was like, hey man, can I buy some shorts from you? I got a fight coming up.
Yeah.
I'd love to represent.
Yeah,
I was so proud. And I wanted to help. Like, how can you help? How can I help this guy?
Yeah.
I don't have nothing to give. And he was like, you just take them, And I was like, no, I'd like to buy him. He's like, fucking, you fucking
take. I know, yeah.
If you ask me again, I was like, okay. All right.
The orange tap out shorts.
Oh, I still love them. They still fire me up.
I got them.
And like, so I mean,
You
it's
got
tough not to give that. You want to pay that same respect forward. But the way I think about it is just the way. Me's not greater than we, right? So when we have the room, for example, if someone wants to come in, have a great day, fuck everyone up, and leave, it's like, man, you haven't earned the right to do that.
Yeah.
And it's and by letting that person take away, you're hurting the whole more than they're gaining individually as well. So, when you mention it's not just about what that person needs for their selfish quest, because fighting is the most selfish thing you can do, but it's taking away from your family. Mm-hmm. And that's where, for me, that line was hard enough to just walk away from the sport. But like, I think that's more than a fair way to equate it. Like, it's
and it literally was like, I've seen what it's done to Trevor and like my coaches. I've seen what the sport has done, It takes. And like, I said, no way, dude, I don't want it. And like, even like the home life, even with the wife, like me gone, me missing family dinners, like I didn't realize like how big of a impact that did. Because I was always at the gym fucking around, fucking off, doing what I love, right? That was me. Mm-hmm. And dude, now that I'm older and now that I have kids, like, dude, I want to be there for them. You know what I mean?
Well, this is it. I got to think a lot about that, but looking at life from alternate lenses, right? Since my folks passed, like you get a very different perspective.
Different life, yeah.
Oh man, and like it's part of your mission, right? So you're at a different phase of completing your mission, and one day your mission will be completed, and if you get some time to enjoy it, great. But if not, like your time's done.
Yeah.
So like as the phases cycle through, just like we were talking about other people, your prime only comes for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
But that's that phase, and then it's on to the next, So it's important to really put your foot into each thing, because then you won't live with regrets and woulda, coulda, shouldas, and to just let your natural course play out. It's a big one.
Well, saying that is like, since you started coaching at the gym now, and I started putting a gi back on, like literally, does people really know like how, like this room now can actually all say it now because they've had a taste of what you have to offer, right? It literally is special. Like you are, like literally, yes, you're a black belt, but you are so much more than a black belt. And I've been around other professors, and I've been by Renzo,
Oh man, Renzo's the man.
Yeah, I've been by some of the best jiu-jitsu guys.
If I could steal a quarter of his charisma.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Man.
Like every time we go to New York, that's the gym we go to.
And you feel better about yourself as a person being around
just around them, right? Everybody's
got it.
So like that's what I'm trying to say about you, Sean. So for me to put on gi back on, I mean, literally it was something like I wanted to, because I wanted to learn from you, because I knew how good you were, right? Yeah. And literally just to be like, I want to train again. And like I say it in every picture or everything I post when I put a back of gi on, it feels so good for me to be a student again.
Yeah, yeah.
Like for me to show up on the day off to the gym, miss my daughter's gymnastics, I literally am happy to do that because I know, one, I'm better in myself. Two, I'm feeling better about myself. And three, I'm going to be a better person when I come home.
Yeah.
And I have.
Man.
Next day, I'm like, oh, fuck, what was I thinking? Right? But it really has, and that is why, like, the time that I'm there, I try to give everything I got because I know it's time away from my family. And respect towards you. Like,
Yeah.
it's fun, man. I have fun in your class.
I appreciate it. That's what I'm really trying to do at the end of the day, to be honest, is not only is it my gift to give, but it's what I believe in. So I watched habits that my father built in his 30s and 40s and 50s kill him in his 60s and 70s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he died before his time, before lots of wishes, right?
Yeah.
But not before his time, before I wanted, because it was his time, so when he's gone. So, with my friends now, as we enter our 40s and 50s,
Yeah.
I can see, like you said, the choices we made in our 20s and 30s catching up, right?
100%.
And like the only thing that staves off time is work. Like my grandfather taught me how to work. Fuck, he used to work my dick into the dirt when he was in his 70s and 80s.
Because of what he knows.
Yeah, and he, motherfucker ate 2 fried eggs every day.
Yeah.
Was stacked and jacked. His neck looked like leather, and you just kill me. Like
Yeah.
I remember I couldn't keep up. He would work his ass off, take a nap, get up, drink a root beer, and fucking kill it.
Yeah.
And so like I believe a lot in the sweat equity of what we're doing, and then also the importance. Like selfishly, I'm so happy to be able to just spend time. Like I enjoy being around you, and I enjoy the opportunity to share it with your team, because like there's not a more cohesive team than a team that can fuck up a whole room. Like,
Yeah.
And you got something to talk about. Like it's speaking another language, it's nonverbal communication, right? And then also just the game, the art, the understanding, the unfolding, and then the journey within themselves. Because like I said, it's going to make you a better husband, a better father, a better person, and like everything you want to do. And it's important to have not only that, but the stress relief. Because, we take our great lives and you stack on more and more and more. I went through probably 3 of the hardest years that I've ever experienced without any jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. And it was incredible to understand those different parts of yourself, because I'd always grown up my whole life with my mind being led by my body. And so to take that away and be trapped in your own mind as such a physical person, like I was saying back to my friend, the doctor, about football, it's like, yeah, it's not a big deal. Maybe you don't play football because you're worried about CTE, but if you have that in you, the CTE, it's scary, but like, man, it's not trying to say that you want CTE, like nobody wants that, but it's like, if I don't at least try to express myself while the urge is high, I'm going to implode instead of explode. So it's kind of it's dangerous.
It is.
So for now to have this beautiful tool that unlocks, more or less everything through the use of, of mock violence, because that's a beautiful thing. Saulo Ribeiro says, he's like, if you're late, you use strength. If you use strength, you get tired. If you get tired, you die. He says, man, I get to die every day. So that's what I like to think about is, you can die every day.
Yeah. And
it's just a cool journey. And,
it is. Yeah. And that's one thing I will say, like, I never thought I would like jiu-jitsu with the gi as much as I do now.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm so happy.
So like your professor that you had was Amal, right?
No.
Or
he's one of them.
One of them, right?
That's who
that's who you came to Boulder with, right?
Yeah.
So Amal was the guy that I went to the first time I put on a gi. I was already fighting in the UFC.
Holy smokes.
And I was getting ready to fight Marcus Aurelius.
That's how it used to be back in the day, right? Like it was.
And I was like, look, I'm fighting a Brazilian black belt.
You run a Brazilian jiu-jitsu school, right? Hooker brother.
Yeah. And I said, man, I need some extra credit. He goes,
all the stuff right now.
Give
me all the things.
He goes, there you go, man. Here's your gi. Start showing up. And I started showing up. And I was in white belt class, right?
Yeah.
And we weren't rolling live. We're just, it was, and I was like, Amal, man, I got literally a month to get better ready for a black belt. And he goes, man, start showing up with these guys. I think it was like Nick Klein and all these guys. Dude, yeah. I was like, dude, I have no idea what I'm doing with this gi. I started showing up, started doing it, and I I was like, fuck it. I guess I'm doing it, right?
Yeah.
And it was fun, but it wasn't like what I needed to do. You know what I mean?
It's tough. You're in a pickle at that point.
I was at pickle, but the other thing was I couldn't afford the classes. Yeah. And I told him, I said, man, he was out here in the UFC. I was like, Yeah, man. Can you use it for like advertising? Like,
How
can I do it?
Yeah, I don't make
Literally,
any
you know what he
money,
does? You know what I did? He made me a deal.
Clean
I
up.
paid some money, but he goes, here, show me how to mop the mats after everything was done.
Yeah.
And I did it. I was the guy in the UFC that was still mopping the mats.
Yeah.
And I didn't care because I knew I needed to fucking learn jiu-jitsu.
Amal has been a giver like
Yeah.
that all along, right?
Yeah.
He did the same for me. I fixed the academy. So I had people mopping the mats. And that lasted until he found out I knew how to work on dirt bikes.
Yep.
He's like, actually, fix this shit.
Yep.
And then we started shredding. But
Yeah.
I think that, it takes a big heart to do that.
Yeah.
And the thing about it too, it's like, it's the one thing I wouldn't give you even if I could.
Yeah.
Because the journey's too special.
Yeah.
And that's what's tough. When someone shows up, that's like someone showing up and saying, hey, I want to have a kid with you, but I'm gonna knock you up and call me when he's 18.
Yeah.
They're like, well,
That's not how it works.
yeah, and you miss out. You
Yeah.
can't. You miss out on the experience. Like you miss it. You don't run the race. The beauty's not the finish; it's the journey, right? Kind of thing. And it's tough, and it's tougher to tell people that, and it's tough people to get it. But it's beautiful to me because just like with your crew, when the lights come on, that's when it's special. When they get it. And then I always believe that too. Like a black belt just means you know how much you don't know. It don't mean shit. It just means you finally can see how vast the horizon is, and you start trying to cross the savannah.
Well, when you said that, it reminded me of that saying, like, a black belt is a white belt that never quit.
Yeah, that's how it used to be, right? Like everyone just had white belts, and it was your white belt or a black belt.
Yep.
And then it's black because your white belt got dirty.
Yep.
And you just hung around long
Just
enough.
kept on doing it, right?
Yeah.
And I guess it's just funny for me to see like these young kids like now, and I say young kids because I do, because they're young, like guys like that showed up on Tuesday, like Jack and his crew, like these guys take my boxing kickboxing class, and I seen them up there watching, right? They're like, oh, what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, come in tomorrow, do it tomorrow, I'll be there with you.
Yeah.
You do that? And I was like, yeah, man. Really? Coach Luke does that? I was like, yeah, come in. And after they got done with that class, right? They were like, I think I found my new passion. I think
Dude.
now everybody, like, it's so funny because it's just to see that spark in them.
Yeah.
Like, because it's not for everybody.
No.
It's not for everybody.
No.
Jiu-jitsu is not for everybody. And
It should be. I'll say that much. It should be. It could be.
It could be.
But it depends on what you have, and it is for everybody if you're willing to. It's like, what is it, like the great power comes great responsibility kind of thing. If you want the power and you're willing to burden the responsibility, like, I guess the only reason it's not for anybody is if you so if something's prohibiting you or limiting you from the experience, which we put a lot. I stay away from certain things in life because I've experienced them. I don't like them, so maybe they have tattoos.
Same thing.
Yeah, man, I have to cut you off because it's for everybody, and that's what's super important to me. Is like one of the most, I can't remember his name. He's one of the most renowned Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioners in Brazil. He lived his life as a peasant because he would teach jiu-jitsu for free, and he would teach it to impoverished communities in the favelas. And they're like, man, why are you doing this? You could be a millionaire. It's like, these people need it the most.
Yeah.
It's not just about me. It's about what this can do for their lives.
Yeah.
And that's where, I mean, like, what's exciting when you and those guys see the light come on. Like, there's a lot. And that's what's so unique about the journey. Like I said, it was 18 years when you watch your child develop and how much you develop with that child. It's part of the human experience of evolving, right? Or adapting as well through that transition of time. It's the same thing with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And it's powerful if it speaks to you. Like, if you wrestled, and you understand movements, and you've gotten over those, like, you wear a singlet, distance barriers, like, you don't give a fuck. Like, depends on what level you're at of security or insecurity, or even just like or dislike, I guess. But yeah, so there are some limiting factors of new that come with that. But it's tough. Like, you try to deliver that experience, and it's a lot, but you have to just trust the art, trust the process, and trust yourself. And I had to just cut you off. So I got excited. Like, man, even if it's not you for forever, at least try it, because you never know. Like, there's words that are in your head that.
Well, that's kind of the point I was getting at. Like, back then, in 2007, it wasn't for me. He was not for me.
Wasn't the right time.
Wasn't the right time. I'm 41 years old. It's the right time for me.
It's the right time.
I feel like, dude, this is my new deal. Like, I like it. Like, I'm trying to figure out changing schedules around. How can I make this shit work more for me?
Man, it's a weird thing just as you look back on your life too, just to see how close it gets, right? When opportunities overlap, and if you go this way or that way, right? It's millimeters apart here at the beginning, but as time progresses, they're miles apart. So Matt Bernier always says that, right? He says he prevents and cures more heart disease than surgeons. You know how?
How?
Sprained ankles. Because he fixes sprained ankles.
Yeah.
And, you know, he goes, man, I stop that person from ever going down a road of being overweight, obese, and active, which will give you more heart disease, right, later in life, and congenital failure, right? Yeah. So, like, he stops that by starting the problem when it's millimeters apart. So, like, it's kind of similar to that. Like, I from, like, you know, the trauma I've experienced in life later from seeing the complete full cycle of life in a very intimate fashion, and more moved and inspired by those realizations because, like I said, those habits now, you pay in ways that you don't want to when you can't. You can't change the end from the end, right? Yeah. And we're in a very unique part of life where you can still maybe not change it. Everyone possibly has a destiny or a fate, but you can influence it and at least put yourself to be in as most satiated as possible through that time in between now and then, whenever then may be.
Yeah. And I don't know, you tell me about this, about jiu-jitsu. Is it more of a, like, I'm not doing it for me to, you know, become a higher belt or say I can take this guy or I want to beat these guys up, not that. I'm doing it because, one, I'm going to get myself in better shape. It's my workout. It's my, like, outlet. Like, I love shooting bows, but it's obviously not enough physical activity for me. If I'm pounding beers on a podcast, I got to fucking do more activity, right? Yeah. So my whole deal is, like, is it my confidence? A little bit now. You know, now that I'm, like, rolling with, like, guys like if I roll with Gaethje and he has, like, Alameda down here and all these guys, I want to jump in there. I want to see where I'm at, right? And just do it. And, like, now it's just more of a confidence thing for me too. Like, saying that I can still do this. You know what I mean? For me, it's more of a, like, I can still do this. Like, don't think you're an old fat fuck, right? Like,
well, that's where it starts too, is like, so, you know, it's funny because, like, if I could ever have a superpower, I always wanted two. One is, like, I wanted to be able to do anything I could think. Like, that's the superpower I want. And then two is, like, I wish I could learn better without having to identify, right? Because it's never real till it's real for you. Yeah. And then, like, so one of the things I remember, my old man, he was playing basketball. He blew out his patellar tendon in his knee. And I don't remember how old I was, but I know he was in his 40s. And then from there, like, his dad, my grandpa, started to pass away and have problems. So he didn't rehab it all the way. And then in turn, like, the fallout of that drastically changed his activity in his life. And then in turn, like, again, the patterns and habits catch up, and life happens. It snowballs. Yeah. So, like, you're fighting for all these, like, just like Greg Jackson used to say, he says, fighting's a game of inches, and it's oftentimes inches between your ears, because you're not fighting for these gross positions or major movements. You're just trying to get a tick ahead, and that's all you need, because maybe they'll break, or maybe you'll get an advantage, or maybe it tips in your favor, then it goes, you know, just like momentum in something when it hits that teetering point. So to answer to more specify on your question is, like, I think that the experience of jiu-jitsu for you is it finds its shape. It's a unique journey. So, like, right now you're having fun. You're starting to, you got a toe in the water. You're wetting your whistle, but the only answer is more, right? Like, and that's a beautiful thing about it. There's nothing I've experienced in life that's quite like athletics, and jiu-jitsu is even more in that regards, that one-to-one relationship. Yeah. So if you're also starting to relive your life, because, like, as the full circle progresses, like, you know, they say you start out shitting yourself, you end shitting yourself, right? Yeah. So it's important in the middle to try to, like, get back and enjoy that youthful where you're willingly shitting yourself instead of unwillingly shitting yourself. Yeah. Because, like, the you know, like Cooper and Dante, right? The two 13-year-olds in the class. Like, I say it all the time, like, I was most proud and important for me to have them in class, because they're as close to what we're trying to get back to than we'll ever be. So it's important to find that love, to play, to have fun, and it's an environment that like successfully rewards and encourages exploration and art. And that's the thing to me, is that you have to remember it's the gentle art. So it has a deadly intent, it has a usefulness of self-defense, it has all these applicable things, but just like I like motorcycles, so there's a lot of different brands, a lot of different styles, a lot of different types. It's the same thing. You can pleasure cruise, you can race, you can jump it, you can hammer it, you can put nitromethane in it, you can put a rocket on it. There's all these different applications for two wheels. Same thing in jiu-jitsu. It can be fun, it can be loose, it can be fast, it can be mean, it can be caring, it can be sweet, it can be commanding. It takes so many different forms. So that's where like I encourage you to just continue to explore, and that's where I try to encourage with the books, right? Like the journey of it doesn't always take place when you practice it. It takes place here.
100%.
I used to have more fun, or I wouldn't say more fun, but I used to get really excited just sitting and thinking. This was when I was in like my heyday of like really able to commit my whole life. I didn't have anything else going on. That was my whole focus, was jiu-jitsu. I used to sit and I'd just think about jiu-jitsu. I'd be talking to myself. I'd be replaying matches in my head, and I'd get excited when I figured something out. I'd try to see the positions. I'd be so excited to go train the next day.
Just to apply it.
Oh, yes. I mean, it's kind of, you'll get probably a kick out of the story, but like, so I remember, so Elliot got me a job at a bar in Boulder called the Foundry. And I was working there as a bouncer. Yep. And there's all these college chicks in there.
Oh, yeah. That's why I know that.
Well, I was captain fucking late to the party all the time. Like, when I was young, there was no chicks. I'm older, like, oh, there's no chicks. Like, well, no, you move. There's tons of chicks. So like, all I wanted to do was train.
Yeah.
And like, so when I was in college, I got into triathlons. So I was just training. And then afterwards, like, you get a chance to move back to a college town. Well, all I wanted to do is jiu-jitsu. And he'd be like, serving up these chicks. Yeah. And he's like, hey, man, go talk to these girls. Hey, man, you should sleep with that girl. And I was like, I don't want to. He's like, what? And I was like, man, I want to go home. I want to go to bed. I didn't like going to bed late. I was like, I want to take a good shit in the morning, and I want to train. Yeah. And none of those three things are going to happen if I chase this chick. Yeah. He was like, what's wrong with you? Yeah. I was just so in love with that one-to-one. It's like, man, I can have as much as I want and more of everything that is encompassing my, like, so for me, I guess it was stupid to never stray away from something that you love that much. And I think you'll never have the same love for yourself or a passion as you will for your children and your family. But to get back a fraction of a percent of that, thing that we all clearly loved, because you loved wrestling, you love fighting, like this was, it's a part of not even your identity, but it's what you know. It's a theme. Yeah, it's a theme. It's a theme of your personality, and it's a part of your spirit, is the way I see it. Because that's the thing, I guess, that was easier for me when I quit fighting, was like, it was tough to lose the identity of a fighter, because I really enjoyed your ego being padded.
It fed your ego,
and the respect too, because like, oh fuck, man, I remember. So I went to work in the oil field, and then I was in the oil field, and then I had the opportunity to do a sales job, and I was like, I don't want to be a salesman. And then my ex-wife at the time was like, I don't know, you took this fucking job, I never see you, hating it, you're never around. I was like, ooh, I better take this other job. So I started going, and I would talk to people, and I was literally could be selling moon rocks. I had no fucking idea. I didn't understand about the oil field. I didn't know how it worked. I was like, I knew what it was. I'd seen it in Alaska. The oil field big up there. I knew it was all over the world. And I'm talking to these engineers, and like, I'm in their world, right? Yeah. And so like, I didn't expect to know what they're saying, but they were rude to me. And I just remember sitting around the table looking at them, just being like, I will literally smash your head into that desk, and I will just keep smashing it. Until I'm done smashing it, like, so your brains are mush, and then like I'm just sitting there and like I think they could kind of feel the energy shift. I'm like, all right. I was like, okay, great, thanks. I'll just get up and leave. And like I was like so happy to leave that meeting, but I was just like, man, it's like you have to reframe your mind, because you were in this world of like where that still might still is right, and like so like to sort of tap back into a fraction of a percent of that, is
I think that's what it
awesome.
Is. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
And the biggest thing, like with you being a father now, is like, and a coach, is like, it's your playground again. But guess what? I mean, you're gonna get to know and learn more that you can give to Ava, and more to Marcus, and a different way to relate to Kalina. Like, and that's, to me, that's the gift that just doesn't stop giving. And like, and then
it's priceless, dude.
Priceless.
Yeah, priceless.
And it's too important to miss out on. And I guess that's the only selfish thing that I feel about it. Like from winning the lottery with my family to getting to fall in love with jiu-jitsu and have that, like you say, if you look at somebody like, oh, fighting's not for you. If I look at you and it's like, oh man, this is in you. I want you to at least try the flavor, you know?
Yeah.
Like you like ice cream, maybe you're not, you know, a sherbet guy, but hey, cookies and cream might be blow your fucking mind, and you can have as much of it as you want.
Yeah, and I think it's a I don't know, a confidence thing too that he still puts in you. Like, okay, yep, I may not be able to punch the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna fucking choke the fuck out of you.
There is, you know, every time, and that's where like I'm excited for the journey to continue. So yeah, you win. Winning feels good. This is America. This is what you're supposed to do. You know, you ain't paying shit for second place.
Exactly.
So, I mean, you get the chance to win and explore, but yeah, and that confidence, like, where else do you get to still flex?
Yeah.
You know, it's a healthy and a safe way and a rewarding way. And then, like, if you still want, we turn that motherfucking dial up.
Yeah.
If you want to get it, we can still go. And like, you can't, you know, Rock'em Sock'em Robot ain't so good like that no more.
No.
You know.
No.
And I remember, like I was saying, it was funny, we were talking earlier, we had some of the guys that were fighting, they're doing jiu-jitsu, and they're like, oh, everyone, I want to try and ever fight. But back then, we was like, all right, come. And then, like, they're like, man, you guys do this all the time? I was like, yeah. Like, do you get headache? Like, yeah. That's just the way it goes. That's what it's happening.
Yeah.
So, like.
You drink coffee, I drink ibuprofen.
Yeah.
Coffee.
Yeah. And
that's
they're like,
exactly it.
You get headaches every day. I was like, yeah. This is fucking welcome. Like, figure it out. Like, oh, and then, like, remember this kid, he'd show back up with headgear. He'd show up with nicer headgear. And I was like, this is not going to help.
None of that shit's going to help.
Yeah. You better get better or you need to find something else to do. So.
And I guess that's just it, you know. I guess I mean, with this whole jiu-jitsu thing that you're bringing in now to Genesis, and, you know, what do you see your program or yourself in 5-10 years? What is it?
Man, I just think I'm just grateful for the opportunity, you know. The Meeks were kind enough to create a place that we all could flourish, you know, and to extend beyond. And I'm grateful for Tom and Mike doing that. And I'm really honestly, Louis, like, I'm grateful for you, because life's a wild ride.
It's crazy.
Man, you reached out to me when I was going through hard times and tough places, and just the thought of more gave me hope and kept me going. And then also something to look forward to and to work at and invest in. It re-engaged me, and I'm very grateful, because it's funny, sometimes I was like, man, I think I'm getting more out of it than the students, you know? Like, you told me that from the beginning. You're like, it's probably be good for you too, motherfucker. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I need it.
Yeah.
This is something I need and I want. And, you know, honestly, it's a lot of that, even with all of GU Unfiltered, because, like, man, I like I said, I went through 3 of the hardest years of my life, and part of it, I was driving truck for a year, and I would turn this on and I would just fucking laugh. You know, I'd go from sitting in a cab all day by myself on the road in fucking, you know, middle of nowhere, Texas, or end up in Idaho.
Yeah, wherever the fuck, bumfucky.
You go, and it's like how the blacktop's black, it's the same shit, and then you get to be with some friends, hear people laugh, and your guys' energy and camaraderie, it takes me back, and it's inspiring, and it gives me hope. It's keep going, don't give up, try, and like, hey, have fun. Like, remember these other things that are good that are out there, and the way you bring the homies with, and the way you've been to me, because even prior to that, you know, I was working as a salesman, and, you know, I never wanted to be a politician or a salesman. There's a couple things we despise in Alaska. Lawyers are the third. Like, we don't like any 3 of those motherfuckers. And, like, here I am with this job being one of them. And you were like, hey, man, we were hunting. We went on the property. You remember that? And you were showing me the property. I was like, this place is fucking wild. And then you had a camera. My dad, growing up, man, he always had a camera.
Always.
He had filmed everything, pictures and then video after. And so I was like, I liked them, and I was like, well, give me that. I want to take pictures of you. And like, we're having fun. You're fucking glassing. And then you remember this? You fucking shot the head off a rabbit. You remember that?
I remember that.
You fucking just sniped it. You were like, and I was like, holy shit, Robin Hood over here, because you were just goofing. And you just fucking pulled up, boom, and you decapitated it straight off. And I was like, dude. And then you were like, and Greg had stepped out. And that was the same thing to me that was beautiful about athletics and opportunity, your guys' relationship that came from that. And his willingness to be human with you and to share life. and to be willing to try to extend the experience further and extend the experience to more. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
And then you're like, man, I'm gonna do a fucking TV show. And I said, man, if anything I could do, let me know. And you fucking let me help. So like your willingness to not only bring the homies along, but to go out of your way. Like, man, you paid for me to go to the film school so I could run the equipment better. You paid for me to go to Arizona when me and you and Gaethje went hunting. And like, man, it's just, I'm very grateful. I'm grateful for you as a friend and for your heart, because you've been shit on along the way. Like, we've all been hoed out hard. And like, it sucks. And it's kind of the American way, right? It's funny because everyone always thinks like the American way is opportunity, but in my opinion, the American way is exploitation. That's what capitalism is. The haves and the have-nots. But nonetheless, you were still human, and you were still real, and you're still willing to give and help after you've been kicked, multiple times.
Here's the thing, man. It took a lot of me to be like, okay, I can do this, and I got there a lot. But it also takes people to help you along the way. I mean, like this room right here is a perfect example of like, I would not, this podcast would not be as where it's at if it wasn't with these guys was out here helping me too.
Yeah.
Yes, I could have done this, did this, but it would nowhere near be without people like you guys, these guys. Although sometimes you want to smack the fuck out of Cody, but you still love him, right?
You better keep shot around.
That's part of his journey too, because like I think that that's where he's gonna get the experience to evolve through jiu-jitsu too.
Yeah.
Because it's an opportunity to not have to do that. Because like like I say all the time, like the greatest reflection of me isn't the fact that I could kick everybody's ass in the room. It's the fact that my 13-year-old can escape.
Yeah.
Or that
they keep going.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Or Hannah's gonna fuck all you motherfuckers up, and I can't even take credit for her because I think I haven't trained her very many classes, but she has the highest technical prowess of anybody that I train with the gymnasts. Like she gets it, and she like what's that called? Theoretically and clinically gets it. Like has it written out. But so I was so proud. One of the guys I was talking to Thursday, there's another student, Ephraim. He was like, man, I tapped Ephraim tonight. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah. And I was just like, my fucking heart soared. I was so happy.
Yeah.
Do you know why? Because Ephraim's a bad motherfucker. Ephraim could fuck that whole class up except maybe like me and maybe Scott. And he let this white belt tap him.
Really?
Yeah. I was so proud.
Because that's showing, hey, yes.
He's buying in.
Yep.
He's buying in, and he gets it.
Yep.
And right, and like, because it's not how good I could beat you, it's how good I can make you.
Yep.
And the more I give it away, the more it's gonna. We all come up together, just like you've treated me and brought us all along on the ride. It's the same thing, like, and it's so tough to do that because, like I said, the rest of life and society, the way we're taught and trained, it's the opposite.
Yep.
And we're told to kick everybody in the teeth and go forward. And like, it's really tough to do that. Like, cause I still want killers. Yeah. I still want to be winners. So like you ask where you see yourself in 5 years, it's like, I want to build a competition team. And I more specifically want to have the opportunity or create an opportunity that I didn't have. So like I said, I didn't want to fight. I want to do professional jiu-jitsu. Well, at the time, you couldn't make no money. So what I thought, I was like, oh, when I fight, I'll make some money and I'll be able to train more. And then you get caught up in the game because, like, I like to box. I knew how to box. Like, I love to wrestle. Like, I do jiu-jitsu. Like, well, you should just do this. Like, oh, I could actually be a professional athlete. That was my hook. Was like, one, I could be a professional athlete, and two, I could train with the highest athletes in the area that I could access that were doing the sports I like to do and who dedicated their lives to being the best they could do. Yep. And that was my thing. I was like, I want to see how far this fucking engine can run, right? Like, what do you got in you? And that was the thing that interested for me, like for drugs and stuff along the way. I wasn't that much into it because I was like, I don't want to see what the drugs could do. I want to see what I could do. Yep. And then Matt Bernier, he changed my life because he made it possible for me not to have to do drugs because my body was falling apart from the way I was treating it. Yep. And like, man, hindsight 2020, I would train a third of what I used to train. Yep. I didn't need to. Yeah. Like I fucking hit every branch on the way down of the fucking gifted lucky gene tree. I know. And so like you don't realize that until you realize it. Yeah. Like I didn't realize it till I quit fighting, went home, was working for an excavation company, running a fucking excavator and driving truck and just busting my ass, didn't train a fucking lick.
Yeah.
Came back and could still fuck dudes up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, you know, what the fuck am I doing? Like training fucking, you know,
a madman.
Yeah. Easily 20 plus hours a week, you know,
like peak week all the time.
Oh, well, not just peak week, but yeah, just grinding.
Yeah, dude.
All the holidays, everything. It's like,
why?
That's not you know, why? Because you didn't know better. And then two, like, if you're following the wrong suit, right? Like, that's not my flavor of the rainbow, you know? Like, that was somebody else's truth in regards to their life. That's what they needed.
Yeah.
I know how I came about, like, how I was made, and it's a unique process. And, like, that process, like, fucking filtered out a lot of bullshit for me. So I just got lucky, but.
Yeah, it's crazy. The whole fight game to the whole art of MMA was honestly the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I said from when I first started, people were like, "Why are you doing this? It ain't gonna take you anywhere."
Mm-hmm.
It absolutely did. Everything opposite of what everybody told me.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I fucking stuck it out because, you know, was I ever a world champion? No. But I am the person I am today, and I would never change it.
And hey, coming up, you about to help create a world champion.
Yeah.
Boy's about to do work.
He's about to do work. Man.
And that's the big thing on it too. Like in my opinion, I fucking went off. Was it 2 weeks ago? On a group of guys because I'd be an old fuddy-duddy, and like you know, like Leonard's and the Duenos, you know, like. Mm-hmm. I remember Leonard, those motherfuckers always hooked it up. Like Cowboy 2, I was down there training in Albuquerque, and he's like, man, come check out the ranch. Let me stay at his ranch, and, you know, hanging out, seeing everything. He was still building it all. Mm-hmm. And I think it was back when they were doing that tap-out bus thing, you know? Yeah. And then Leonard, he had a Corvette, and I was like, I got to go back. I got to catch a plane. He's like, take my car. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, take my car. Like, I'm fucking getting to drive. You know, he let me live the life a little bit, because you know how much you suffer and struggle, and they seen how I was working. And it was different too, because I would go with certain people, and like you're treating one way, and you go by yourself, like you're treated differently. Way different. Yeah, and so like I appreciate that they were kind enough to see me and treat me as me, because like I'm a different person. Yeah, but it's like what you just said though. That's a different group. Oh yeah, it's real. Group. Oh, and it's inspiring. Like I remember, it's funny because like I try to pass it forward. Like with Cooper, I had his mom get him this book. It's by Ernest Shackleton. It talks all about his expedition to circumnavigate Antarctica. And it's called The Endurance. And Greg Jackson was the one that told me, turned me into it. See? And it's just wild, like where the weeds go. Yep. You know, like, so I was in his office one day, we were talking, and I was like, what is that? He has one picture on his wall, right? So we start talking about it, and it's all about Ernest Shackleton. Yep. And like, I read the book, and I just texted him the other day because they found the ship. Like they found it was deep in the ocean, so enough ice had melted, and they were able to go over and explore, and they found it's preserved because it's so cold. Really? It's so deep. Yeah, it's like, it's immaculate. I was like, I sent him the article, like, he's like, oh yeah, someone else sent me that too. That's cool. Geeking out, but like, my point is like, you don't know where them seeds come from, and you try to pay it forward. Like, I remember I ran into a kid one time, this is before he moved he's in Kentucky now. Yeah, Alvin? Yeah, and he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm just working. And he's like, you're not teaching? And I was like, no. He's like, man, that's a shame. And like that always stuck in my head, you know? I was like, yeah, you know, I felt like I had a responsibility, you know? And then shortly after that, I went to work for Cody. And so like, I was like, I got to get back to giving. Yeah. But it's different too. But yeah, and like protecting, like, so I guess my point was protecting the fighter. Like, man, dude, I went off on these guys. Like, that's the pinnacle of our sport, you know? Like, the jiu-jitsu came from self-defense and fighting, and they created fighting to show, you know, its chops and what it could actually do. And you use self-defense if your life's ever on the line. Mm-hmm. And one of my teachers, Larry King, he said everything's training until your life's on the line. So, you know, it's important you train hard. And that, like, with the guys that are doing it and paying the price, like some people I was around in a gym, they weren't respecting that. And I was fucking pissed. It was the gym owner and like one of the diamonds, like a prodigy student. Mm-hmm. And I asked these guys to move once, and then they like moved, and then I look over and another group's rolling into them, and I ask them to move, and then like I stop my training, get up, walk over, they're asking to move, and then I walk back to training. I look over, the same guy's rolling into him, like, hey, and he's like, what? I said, move. He's like, I did. I said, get. And then I look over again and like I went put out a rope, and then I was just fucking stewing. I pulled everybody together and I was like, bring it in, the whole group, bring it in. And they're like, who's this motherfucker? Because I don't teach there.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, I want to fuck all you guys up right now. Like, old me would line you up on the wall and bring out and just fuck you up one at a time. But I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Like, you're not going to learn anything, and, like, the lesson will be lost on you. So I'm going to try to use my words. And I just went on this fucking rant. Like, just how about, I said, who are those people, first of all? And then I was like, and who are they to you? And I was like, you got to understand the price they paid, so we have this space and this opportunity to play this game for fucking pennies on a dollar.
Yeah.
And second to that, like, you have to respect their journey and their sacrifice to get here. If they want the fucking space, you stop your bullshit hour or 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever you're doing. Fuck your day.
Yeah.
Give them the space and make sure that's protected. And also, like, what if something happens? You roll into their leg, you blow out their knee. Like, man, he's literally giving up the best years of his life and his health to push this forward to learn more so he can trickle it down to you.
Yeah.
Like, that's your greatest resource, and he's our pride. You need to protect it. And, like, so it's funny, like, that's a common thread across societies. You know, historically, you used to have a guru, and that guru would train a wrestler. Like, there's this old book called The Wrestler's Body, and it talks about the origins of wrestling, and I believe it goes all the way back to India. That's how it used to be. You'd have a wrestler, and he had a guru, and everything guru told him when to take a shit, what to eat, how to brush his teeth. Guru would teach him everything, and he'd wrestle and represent the village. And sometimes they'd even settle wars and battles that way. Instead of having thousands of soldiers fight, bring your best. And then they'd fucking duke it out, and the way it ended. And then they would make agreements accordingly, you know? So, like, I still love some of those universal truths that go back to that kind of cycle and lineage, and I would like to try to recreate that in society so we can have an opportunity for guys to chase the dream and to live the life and to push the presence and push the game further, because you don't see it as much here. It levels off hard after purple belt, and it disappears. It goes to somewhere else. And so then rather than have someone have to go fight, like, because my game changed immensely when I got to a brown belt, because I hammered down on fighting. Like, man, and it's weird looking back hindsight, like some things that, you know, again, that 2 millimeter change, man. I was at the same turning point as some of these guys that had a lot of success. Like, I was training with their teachers before they were even doing jiu-jitsu. Yeah. I was like, fuck, if I would have followed through that way, it would have been a different thing. Yeah, I'm here where I'm at, but still, like, I would like for that opportunity to be more present. And then also just to keep that universal truth present, because there's certain things, like there's another book about breathing where it talks about that, like, regardless of society, regardless of, like, culture, regardless of location, there's historical texts that all say that people uniformly agree on a 6-second breath count, like 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out. That's the key to health, happiness, wealth, longevity.
Really?
Yeah, and it's been found in written texts, like, from South America, North America, all over, Africa, Asia. Yeah, it's different cultures. 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out. So, like, and same thing, like I said, if you go back, like, to Cody's time, everybody's painted blue going on raids, you know, like, different cultures, like, there's certain things, like the wrestlers' bodies and gurus. So, to me, so, like, with the opportunity at Genesis, to be totally honest, I'm just trying to do my best, you know, find my fit, find my flow, because that was part of my thing, too. Like, I had one student that started doing some kickboxing, and I was like, man, I was nervous. I was like, the system isn't quite in place to make sure that journey is guarded, and it's dangerous to have those real consequences without the, you know, proper responsibility.
Exactly.
So, like,
and I think that's, for me, not to interrupt you, but that was part of the reason why I had to step away, because I knew I couldn't give my 100% attention to these fighters.
Yeah. Because Dwayne was big on that. Yeah. I remember the first time I got the first manager I got, he said, hey, you take this fucking serious because you're fucking with these guys' lives. Yeah. This ain't a fucking game.
Yep.
And that's how I respect your, you know, willingness to be truthful about that, because it's honest. It's hard to not take, because you want it for you, but you know that it's taken from them.
Yeah, and then I see some of these people that go out there and they'll start a gym and they'll fucking get fighters in there, 3 months after their gym is opened, and they're on the show and they just want to see their name and their school on the fight card. They could give a fucking rat's ass about that fighter.
Yeah.
Safety, for one, right? Yeah. Win or lose, they just want to see themselves in there. And I'm just like, dude, it blows my mind. That's why I get so pissed off.
Stuff, it's vicious. It's a dog-eat-dog world.
I hate it, dude.
And just everybody wants that shine, too. Yep. And I don't know, those aren't my real things. Yeah. If everybody's going left, I want to go right.
Yeah. And then, you know, people are like, oh, you just have time to work with big UFC stars now. Like, Justin, right? And I look at these motherfuckers and I'm like, look, motherfuckers, I was with this motherfucker when he was borrowing money from me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. And get on board with it
Yeah.
too. Like, you know, you want my time and attention, cool. Dedicate your entire life to this. Do everything I say. Shut it all down. Like, show me that you're worthy of this level of expertise. And that's where, you know, not to be entitled, but like, it's tough because for people to understand that, like, first is like, I'm going to get you to and through an experience healthily. And so you're not going to put a price tag on that value until it's taken away.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So they say, you know, health isn't a priority till it's the only priority, right?
Yep.
And then once it's gone, you would give anything to buy it back.
Yep.
You can't.
Yeah.
So like, first, that's pretty tough to put a price tag on. And two, just the level of experience. Like, man, you know, you've been doing something your whole life. It's been passed down to you generationally and through your lineage of both birth and assignment, you know, like your teachers and mentors, and then your own application and sacrifice and practice. So it's different. It's because there's a level of, like you said, like respect and just honoring of the system and of that sacrifice and of the art that's outside of monetary compensation.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know, it's a little bit of principle, but at the same time, it's tough because I have some friends that have done well in life and they made money. And they're always like, oh, everything's for sale, you know? Everybody has a price.
Yeah.
He's like, selling's all the time. I'm like, yeah, that's true. So that everybody has a price, but everything's for sale, you know? Like, and it depends. It depends if you know, it's tough because everybody needs money, but like, it depends if you want to be a principal too, you know?
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah, it is different. Fuck.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's just real. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a different theme to get on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fuck, Sean. We be rapping.
I know. I want to actually talk hunting, but I want my hunting partner to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, my boy Carl. He's the one that got me into lightweight backpack hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would like to, you know, he got me into it, and luckily enough that he found me just when he needed it because he's had a hard ride.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
It's so funny how that all works out, dude.
Dude, I saved him.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah. He just, you know, it's like the best way I could explain it is like, my dick is like an M16, and his dick is just like a little bending machine. And like, I just fucking 30 round mags, dog. 30 round mags.
No way.
Yeah. You know, he's got twin children now.
No way.
Your boy came through.
Damn.
You know, hey.
Damn.
M16.
Damn.
You know, he cut off his hair. He lost all his power. You know, he's weak. And I'm like, hey, I got you.
He got you.
I got you.
We'll bring him in next
I
time.
have testosterone for both of us.
Yeah, let's bring him in. Bring him in. We'll talk. We'll talk all hunting. I know we went on a jiu-jitsu, but
I know.
I tell you what, I've had more people hit me up about jiu-jitsu since I've, you know, been doing it and everything. And I said, listen, man, because everybody asks me, like, what do I need to know about jiu-jitsu before I do it? I don't want to look like a clown, jackass. Like, do I need to be in shape? I'm like, look, bro.
Come be all those things, you know, all those things they happen. Like I've been training for 18 years and I tell the guys all the time, I made a mistake. Me and Tay were talking about this. Like it was maybe 2 months ago now, a month and a half ago. He was mad at another guy for doing something in class. And I was like, man, I fucking did that same thing. Like at that time, it was like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And I was like, man, it's just tough. So like, you know, the insecurities and it's real. It's okay. It's all okay. And it's like, that's one thing that I know that I've struggled with a lot in life. I worry less about what people say and more about what they don't say.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a strong communicator through my training, right? And through my habits and through my insecurities and through my ego. So working at that. And that's what jiu-jitsu is. Like, it's nonverbal communication. So whatever is plaguing you, I challenge people to take on the opportunity and know that you'll be in an environment that's safe and supportive, meaning that I'm not going to sit there and fucking make fun of you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to force you to do stuff if you're not ready. You take a break as you need it. And then my more thing is time. Like, give it time.
Yeah.
Because it really does. It's a journey. And like, just like raising a child, fuck, you might have the next, you know, Usain Bolt or fucking Maya Angelou, you know, or, you know, I can't think of like a good musician, but like fucking, yeah, you're hanging out with Slash. Like you might have that in the room next to you, but like if you don't give it the time, you'll never know.
You'll never know.
Yeah.
That's why I just try to say, I just try to really encourage people, like, look, man, try it.
Be a kid again.
Just try it. That's why I said I love the part where I could be a student again and just go there and get tapped out, get fucking work, and get tired and be like, oh, fuck.
And learn, because that's the hardest thing is like, as adult, we think we know, left is left, right is right, up is up, down is down. I'm strong, I control, I'm good, I make money, I lead my life. But you're a fucking infant again. You're a diaper. Someone's going to wipe your ass. Like, literally. Like, I'm going to tie your fucking pants for you. I'm going to wipe your nose. You got snot everywhere.
Fix my belt. Put my belt on me.
Yeah, so, like, it's tough to, like, to let yourself go back there, but that's the beauty and the gift within it, too. And, like, my big encouragement to people is, like I said, is you think about it more holistically or more entirely on the journey of life. You get to live 1 or 2 lifetimes within the journey of your single lifetime. And that's been my gift through life is like,
I get that.
I didn't just only know fighting. And I've gotten to live a really cool ride, and it's been pretty expansive. And when I stopped fighting, it was very hard, but it was easier because that wasn't all I'd ever done, all I'd ever known. And it wasn't all I ever wanted. Like I got to have the sweetest nectar prior, and I wanted to try to recreate and have more of that. And it didn't pertain only to a source of income and an identity and an ego. And honestly, it was so funny. Like, I'll end with this. Like the interview, I think it was with Connor Cordova or somebody. I remember along the way, and it was like, "What do you want? Like, sure you want to be a UFC champion one day?" It's like, "What? Everybody says that." I sat down. I was like, "I want to be a mental monster." So that's what I'd like to be. And as crazy as it fucking is, like, you better not put that shit out there because you're gonna get it.
You're gonna be it.
Man, getting knocked out. My life going great, everything falling apart, going through the hardest shit. Like, it's been the biggest opportunity to really
become that mental monster.
Get a hold of your own id. And like you said, I by no means did it alone, but there's a lot of alone now. That's been the biggest shift for me in the last 3 years is that, like, Last Mohican's presence. It's a different existence. But nonetheless, like you said, I encourage everybody to take on the opportunity just because it's not a thought. I can give you a thought, but an experience comes from a feeling, and that experience is going to be unique to everybody. You have to feel it.
It's a different push to everybody.
His words are talk's cheap. Be about that. Be about this work. That's what it comes down to.
That's it, man. One day you're gonna get the lickings, but right now you may be the nail for one day, and then tomorrow you be the hammer. You never know. It's crazy. That's what I like about it. That's cool.
And I'm just so pumped that we could share with the whole crew. And then especially as you start taking your show on the road, man, you can check out different places,
different gyms,
and it's different. Sometimes that's where I'm still excited for the guys to be able to throw down, hold down, because not all gyms are on the level, or not all the gyms get it, or like sometimes you're fresh meat, right? And I've been there, like, man, despite your best intentions, you get fucked up. Like, one of the worst injuries I had in jiu-jitsu, I got kicked in the eye. Well, it wasn't one of the worst, but it was a bad one. And it came from a gym in Alaska, and like from a purple belt. And I was training with everybody and not training hard. Like, I was on my best behavior. And I was actually doing good because I've been that guy. I've been the one that deserves to get kicked in the eye and didn't. And fuck, man, it sucked.
Yeah, it sucks.
Oh, man, it sucks.
I know.
But part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Is there anything else we want to add?
It's a natural stopping point. I'll let it rock. Just grateful for the guys. Thanks to the crew for coming out and shooting the shit. I'm pumped to have more training with you guys, and
it's fun, man.
I'm grateful to be a part of the GU Army.
Yeah, if you're in the Denver area.
Yeah, let it rip.
Yeah, if you're in the Denver area,
come see us.
Yes, come and see him.
Yeah, come
and see him. Come and see us and give it a try. I'm telling you, man, it may be your savior. I mean, I know it's mine. I mean, like, therapy is my bow, like my shooting arrows. Yeah, I get to do that. It's kind of like my reset deal, but like, honestly, it hasn't been enough for me. Like, physically, I wasn't getting enough out of it, and then I, took my workout, to another level, and it's been the best thing that's happened to me.
Yeah.
So.
And the people you meet along the way.
Yeah,
that's
dude.
the crazy thing.
And I think that's what a lot of it is like, everybody has me like this pedal because I've been on this coach for so long, and like, they're like, you're rolling with us? I'm like, yeah, man. I'm a kid. I'm no different than you, dude.
And that's the realest thing about it, right? Like, you don't see other trainers in other sports still doing the sport. Like, man, and that's what's it's tough for me. Like, I try to create an environment that has that, where there's still respect. And there's still cohesion, because I want that to happen. and you don't see it as much. And then you get these fucking bravados and, oh man,
Oh yeah,
oh, you're all this, all that. Like, fucking talk's cheap. Like, ain't nobody nothing. And like, maybe I'm good today, I'll be bad tomorrow.
Yep.
And like, man, I want you to take care of me either way.
Yep.
Because I'm gonna be hurt one day.
Well, and that's honestly at the same time though, and what I tell people, I'm like, hey, you don't realize what we have right here.
Yeah, we got something good. It's building.
So
it's building.
It's good. And I'm talking about you, Sean.
Oh,
we're lucky to have you.
No.
I'm gonna shut you up. We lucky to have you.
Gladiators.
On that note, I just wanted to say thanks again. Man, guys, if you guys haven't checked this out on the Bullhorn yet, just download the app, bullhorn.fm. It's your podcast app. You can watch us, call in, ask questions. All you guys were chatting on this thing tonight, so I appreciate that. Yeah, Sean, I look forward to getting in the field.
Yeah.
Bust out your boat. Start bringing it out, son.
Bro, I still running my setup that you got me set up with Phil, the boys at No Limits.
Yeah.
She's due.
We're ready.
Yeah.
All right, man. We got anything, Cody?
Nope, we're good.
All right. On that note, we out.